Getting nasty on a Wednesday. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Jamie Rivers, Andrew Marsham, Anthony Stalter, 201. Your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Cardinals right now trail the San Diego Padres 3-0 in the third game, the last game of the series.
3-0. What are you watching, soccer all of a sudden?
Absolutely.
You're such a soccer guy now, you can't even help yourself.
No. Yeah, I see that goose egg on the scoreboard. I go with nil now since it's soccer season. Our St. Louis City SC team's got to bounce back.
Yeah, they do. Tonight, as a matter of fact.
Darn right. But Cardinals last night, they win 6-5. Contreras homers twice. Tommy Edman with the walk-off. Willson Contreras, Jamie, just watching that game last night, watching his moments specifically. Let's all remember earlier in the year when all of that crap went down with Contreras and the club, and they traveled to Chicago. It was the first time that Willson Contreras went back to Chicago, took on the Cubs. And do you remember how fired up he was? He got a hit. He was telling the crowd to, come on, give it to me.
They were booing, and he was like, let's go. This
is exactly the guy. And you can't just be that guy and not play well. He's having an excellent offensive year. I don't know the behind-the-scenes stuff when it comes to his defense and whether or not he's going to be the guy that can lead the pitching staff and all that. The Cardinals can worry about that. This is a guy that the Cardinals need to build with. Enough with some of these dudes that can only play half a game or one appearance and then they got to rest for 3 weeks. Or stop. You need gamers like this. We could talk about the analytics. We could talk about having star players, and we talk about all that stuff. Front office, being more active. You need to build a team with competitive guys that want it. And Willson Contreras, in the midst of a 57-76, probably 77 loss season after today,
that way,
is still fired up. Is still trying to get his team, this dead carcass of a team, across the finish line.
That's what guys like him do, though. And that's what you look for, guys like Willson Contreras, so that the attitude and the passion and the desire and the edge and the fire, pick your word for it,
right,
is there no matter what. It's not fraudulent. It's not like, well, when things are going good, he's acting this way. When they're bad, he's pouting, he's mad.
Nope. Same guy.
I mean, he gets aggravated, there's no doubt. But I'm with you. And I will say this. I said it from the very beginning, that I thought they mishandled the whole situation. And I thought that he was unfairly portrayed in a way of not being able to play a major league catcher all of a sudden.
Right.
After 14 years, or I don't know how many friggin' years he played in Chicago, all of a sudden he's unable to catch the major league level. Like, I'm sorry, go chase yourself. This guy's been great in the batter's box. He's everything you wanted, and in fact, a little bit more. I'm not going to say, way more, but he's been a little bit more. And he's been the only guy on some nights that looks like he has a pulse.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thrilled for him last night. Hit the 2 ding-dong Johnsons. His parents were in the house.
That's cool.
Which is always awesome. And then I loved it. This is one part that I love about Cardinal Nation. They all got up wanting the curtain call.
Mm-hmm.
Cardinals fans, I'll tell you this. They recognize when the curtain call is appropriate.
Yeah. They get it.
They do. Like, it's not all the time. It's not overkilled. Yeah. It's like he just hit his second ding-dong Johnson, and I'm watching the next pitch come up, and I'm seeing everybody start to stand up. And I'm like, I know what's going on here. Mm-hmm. Wonder if he'll do it. Of course, he comes out and he does it, fires up the crowd a little bit more. But that's what it's about, man. Let's build around guys who want to be here and who want to get this thing back on the rails.
Okay, so right there. He wanted to be here. He wanted to be here. He played for your rival. He was the one guy that was okay with taking over for a legend. He wanted to be here. And you referenced some of the comments that he made last night, Jamie, talking about how tonight was special for him. He says with the family being in the stands, owes him a lot. To hear the crowd to get into it, this is Wilson Contreras, to hear the crowd to get into it, to give them a reason to get into it, to walk somebody off and to come back from behind. I'm sorry, this was Ali Marmol. But some of the comments made by Wilson Contreras that you had brought up in the office was, this is home for him.
Yeah, he said, he played all those years in Chicago, and the beginning of it was, it was tough, obviously. I'm paraphrasing.
We actually have the audio. Sorry, Marsh just indicated he grabbed the audio.
Anthony, hang on. I think we have the audio.
Let's hear from Wilson Contreras.
It is really special for me. It was really special for me because my mom and dad just got here. And having my family in the stands, it means a lot to me. I'm here because of them, and I owe them a lot. I don't think there is something that I can do that is enough for them. Having a night like I had today, I will never forget, and especially at their first game in Busch Stadium this year. And I was just trying to do something good. I mean, because of my mom and dad, but also for the team. I don't know with that we haven't played well lately, and we needed something like this to change the mood out here. And thankfully, it happened tonight.
Something that's never changed, Anthony, since the beginning of the season? The way that guy talks about the Cardinals.
Yeah, good point.
It hasn't changed. He's talking still about, how great it is to be here, and his parents get a chance to see him first time, Busch Stadium, all this stuff. I guess I'm still ticked off at the way all of that was handled throughout the beginning of the season. And I don't know if I'll ever change my tune on that, just because you got a guy who, again, wanted to be here. He got a guy who competes at a high level. Does he always make the perfect play? No. Is he always calling the perfect game? No. But Yadier Molina is no longer here. He's not here. So no matter what you were moving on to next, it wasn't going to be Yadi.
Yeah.
And the one thing that Cardinals fans have wanted for a long time, as much as they've loved Yadi, they wanted production from the catcher position. And this guy has given the Cardinals production. 15 home runs now. He's hitting at a DH level. I'm not going to say an elite DH, but he's hitting in and around a DH level as far as his numbers are concerned. Since July 1st, his numbers have been off the charts.
Yeah.
So I want to build around guys like Wilson Contreras and get this team. If you had half a team that had as much fire and passion as this guy does, you'd be far better off.
Marsh, you were watching the game last night. You had a thought on how the Cardinals won, but one thing here too, just to add on to Jamie what you just said. One last thing about Wilson Contreras. We talk about the defense and him managing a game and all that. No, he's not Yadi. He'll never be Yadi. Nobody will ever be Yadi.
Yeah, I was going to say, no, not many people are.
But the front office signed this guy to a big contract and then realized that he had some shortcomings when it came to calling a game, right? Or preparation, whatever it is. That's on the front office's. That's the front office's job. It's on the front office's plate now to figure it out. To figure out how they want to move forward here. To figure out what the pitching staff needs from a catching standpoint, and to determine whether or not Wilson Contreras can play 60 games behind the dish, 80 games behind the dish, 100 or 20, whatever it is. It's on the front office now.
Yeah.
To figure that out moving forward. All right, Marsh, you wanted to comment on how the Cardinals won last night.
Yeah, well, thanks to Wilson Contreras, who's bringing the Big Willie energy last night. He helped that team get back into the game, but ultimately it came down to manufacturing runs and playing small ball. You have Richie Palacios. He lays down the bunt with 2 strikes nonetheless. Moves Mason Wynn over the third, and then Tommy Edman hits a ball in the outfield, and boom, game over. It's the little things that help you win games, and we saw that earlier today. Maybe for those that have not caught on to the game, first inning, Tommy Edman steals second, steals third. He has to score.
Yeah,
you get the fly ball. He doesn't tag, and they end up not getting the run, and that's the difference between winning games and losing games. And this team has done too much of not manufacturing runs, and that's why they have a terrible record this year.
Yeah, that is something they forget the analytics versus the old school. I'm so tired of that conversation because figure out how to win the game.
Yeah.
Analytics are part of it, So you have to figure you do have to have power in your lineup. You do. You have to have guys that can hit the ball out of the yard. You also have to have guys that understand the situation. High baseball IQ, process information quickly. You get into the batter's box. You understand what the situation is. Does the situation call for me driving the ball to the opposite side? Does the situation call for me to lay down a bunt? Does the situation call for me to utilize a hit and run? Whatever it may be, figure it out. But figure out how to win a game. It's not one thing or the other. It's not old school baseball. This is what it's about. And it's not all launch angle and hard hit rate and all that other stuff. It's a combination of the two. It's utilizing the information to help you win games. Bottom line. Yeah. So last night, like you're saying, Marsh, they used a combination of both.
Yeah.
A little bit of small ball, and Wilson Contreras comes up with 2 big home runs. Great. How are you going to... Tony La Russa, more than any other manager that I have seen, understood how are we going to win the game tonight. How are we going to win this game tonight? What is our best game plan? And go from there. And somewhere along the way, I don't know how you guys feel, but somewhere along the way, I feel like this team lost perspective on that this season.
They're very confused, I think, at times, not knowing what they truly are.
Yep.
They have a lot of guys who can play that small ball. They do, or in theory, they should. They should have more guys that can do it. You got your slug, baby slug. That's fine. Those guys, don't change those guys. Don't ask Gorman to lay down a bunt.
Right.
Because you would never ask Albert or Roland or Edmonds, any of those guys to lay down a bunt.
Exactly. Now,
That's why you have a team.
Now, in fairness, those guys were pretty good baseball players.
Yes, they were.
But you've got plenty of guys who can play the small ball. So why not mix it up? Or when it's necessary. Like you have, how about Juan Soto last night? Was he second guy up and he lays down a beautiful bunt? Like second guy up in the game. It's Juan frickin' Soto and he's dropping a bunt.
Yep.
Because he felt like the situation called for it. Mm-hmm. And he ended up getting Wilson Contreras, who tried to fire a missile to first. Probably should have held on to it. But, whatever. And now they got guys on base. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not all about just what the program says.
Right. And immediately Zach Thompson's in a stressful spot.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, think about it. You got a bunt, you lay it down, all of a sudden Zach Thompson, your starting pitcher, is in a stressful situation early. How are you stressing, if you're the offense, how are you stressing the opposing pitcher?
Yeah, early, too.
Exactly. All right, it's Fastlane on 101 at ESPN. So Cardinals get it done last night. They are trailing in the series finale, though, at Busch Stadium. Top of the fourth, Padres 3, Cardinals nothing. Miles Michaelis not having a good start. So if it winds up kind of finishing the way that it started, the conversation's probably going to be on Miles Michaelis again, who has not been good over his last 3, 4, 5 starts now. Jamie Rivers, Andrew Marsh, I'm Anthony Stalter. You can join 101 at ESPN and Bud Light for Blues and Brews on Friday evening, September 22nd at the Anheuser-Busch Brewery. Get fired up for the blues season at this outdoor street party featuring live music from country music star Chris Lane and local blues musician Marquise Knox, plus appearances by blues players and alumni, food trucks, blues merch, 101 ESPN giveaways, and much more. Tickets are now on sale. You can visit 101ESPN.com for additional event details and to purchase your tickets for Blues and Brews on September 22nd. It's going to be a great night. Hopefully, many of you that are listening can attend, because that's going to be a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Again, Blues and Brews, Friday evening, September 22nd. Anheuser-Busch Brewery. Tickets now on sale at 101ESPN.com. Speaking of the Blues, we had an article posted in The Athletic by our guy Dom, who, Jamie, I feel like you kind of understand what he is. A lot of people, though, use it as just fuel, his content for fuel. We'll tell you where he ranks the Blues front office this year.
That'd be top 5, I'm sure.
Okay, so Jamie's going to be surprised. Next on 101 ESPN. I was driving into the station today, and somebody was tailgating me, and I'm like, what the heck, man? This guy's right behind me. I'm not loving this.
Sorry.
No, it wasn't Jamie. But it was a Nissan Titan truck. I go, at least it's a Nissan Titan truck. Those trucks are awesome, man. So I kept my cool. He was trailing me, but hopefully he at the very least, got his new Nissan truck at Auto Center's Nissan Herculaneum. They got great deals. We got a Nissan Pathfinder that we love in the Stalter household. We have a family of 5, so to have that extra room, the third row, we love it. But maybe you're looking for a Nissan Rogue or a Nissan Altima, whatever it is. They got trucks, vans, cars, whatever you're looking for. They've got it at Auto Center's Nissan Herculaneum. They also have financing options for everyone. They also have the free nationwide lifetime warranty, the 30-day return promise, and one of the things that I love, all at one location. Over 700 vehicles on the lot in Herculaneum, brand new facility. Whether you're looking at new Nissans or pre-owned vehicles, they've got them. Tell them Stalter sent you. It's Auto Center's Nissan Herculaneum. It's the Fast Lane on 101 to ESPN. So our guy Dom at the Athletic. I said Dom.
Oh, I thought you said something different.
No, I didn't. Some people may refer to the name that I think you thought I said.
I'm not referring to anything, Anthony.
But
go ahead.
Jamie, you have often had a pretty healthy outlook on Dom at the Athletic and what he does.
Oh yeah.
He uses the numbers to create content. He's not necessarily taking a deep dive into the game.
Well, and he uses numbers that support where he wants to go.
Sure. Yeah.
Support the narrative.
Absolutely. But again, I feel like you kind of have a healthy take on that.
Yeah, it is what it is.
You also might be angry after this. So, NHL front office confidence rankings 2023. How fans feel about every team. How confident are you in your team's front office? That's the question we ask every offseason, using the wisdom of the crowd as a guide toward revealing which front offices are doing the best job and which ones aren't. Each front office has its ability to be graded in 6 categories: roster building, cap management, drafting and development, trading, free agency, and vision.
Yeah.
Where do you think the Blues front office ranks?
Well, I know where they rank because
okay. So we can't even play the game.
I was able to open it up, and I was shocked. They have
21.
them ranked. Yeah, they have them ranked at 21. Last year they were ranked 12th. That's kind of the ballpark I'd have them in, somewhere between 10 and 15. The 21 I don't get, and what I don't really understand about this whole equation is that he's basing most of this off of the public and the fan base. Mm-hmm. And no disrespect to our fan base because they're fantastic fans. But, Anthony, just to ask you a quick question, how many times do we get the same question about why don't we just trade this guy? Right. Even though he has a full no-trade clause and that
he's got no market.
And you would have no market and you couldn't bring any money back on because of the salary cap.
Right.
We get those questions not from the same person either, over and over and over and over. And it doesn't mean just Blues fans, just fans in general don't necessarily always understand the intricacies of brokering a deal in today's NHL,
of course,
and the cap management, the cap gymnastics that each general manager has to go through now. So that's where I get a little disconnected with the rating system here, because quite honestly, if I look at it just in this last calendar year, there were some things that Army could have done better, but go back. He got good value for every trade that he had to make. He picked up a couple of reclamation projects in Verana and Kapanen that helped add to this team, set this team up to at least be a middle-of-the-pack team for this season. He used the 3 first-round picks, Dvorsky being a massive pick for them. Couldn't even believe they got him at 10. And they've got Snuggerud, they've got Bolduc, they've got Zach Dean. All these guys are ready to, in the next year or two, become NHL players. So I don't know where he missed the mark on this. In fact, Joel Hofer was a draft pick that they had developed, and now he's in the NHL. He's going to push Binnington this year. So, yeah, I'm not ready to give them, like, top 10 status, like, vote Army, like he's the best. Mm-hmm. But I'm also not ready to say that they're 21st in the league. Do you know how many teams that are in the identical situation as the Blues end up just scrapping it, and that team goes into a rebuild for 5 or 6 years?
To build off your point about the fans and even look, we don't know what it's like to be a GM, to sit there, to make these deals, to figure out the cap and all that. Army's got a team of people that help him.
Trust me, so it's stressful.
We watch what happens and then we react to it. That's the bottom line. But Jamie, to further your point about what you just said, Doug Armstrong did. Shouldn't we also judge GMs based on the situation?
100%.
We as fans kind of view it as, well, you either win or you lose. And I made the comment yesterday, and I stand by it, because when it comes to the fan base, it is totally don't show me the labor. Don't tell me about the labor. Show me the baby. That's all we care about. We winning and losing, bottom line. But when it comes to what Doug Armstrong was dealing with last year, trading, knowing that he was not going to have a competitive team, trading Ryan O'Reilly, trading all the guys that he did, he recognized the situation. So I think you should get at least some credit for that. Not to undermine some of the missteps that he's made, with Alex Pietrangelo being probably the number one misstep. Those
but I think
too.
Army's identified that. Not with his words.
So what do you do?
But with his actions.
Right. And Doug Armstrong last year, I thought he handled the situation last year perfectly. Trading who we had to trade away, and then bringing in a couple of guys that could help.
And we didn't even get into picking up Kevin Hayes for half price.
True.
He got a $7 million player, whether you think that salary was elevated or not, it doesn't matter. Let's just say he's $6 million.
Yeah.
Is what he should have got on the market. But the Flyers overpaid. Fine. You're paying $3.5 for this guy right now. Mm-hmm. And Army made that trade. It cost, what did it cost? What, nothing?
I mean, next to basically nothing.
7th rounder, I think is what it was.
Yeah.
Something stupid like that.
Right.
So I think you have to look at all of these things and go, okay, to your point, yeah, the situation. What did it call for? It called for a reaction of this kind, and Army did it, and he was able to execute it to the best of his ability. Is it passing with flying colors? No, but I'm not even trying to say that either. So, Marshy, I asked you real quick, and text line too, asking, what are some of the teams that are above the Blues in this that, quite honestly, are head scratchers?
So Chicago is ranked 15th. I don't know how you feel about the Blackhawks being there.
They got Connor Bedard.
But
they got Connor Bedard because
that's fan opinion, right? So this is where it gets blurry, is the public and the fan base going, wow, they got Connor Bedard.
Yeah.
We'll let that one pass.
What did they look like for 5 years before that?
They were terrible.
Stunk.
It was terrible.
We'll let that one slide. This is the one that has me scratching my head. The Arizona Coyotes are at 16. What have they done?
They've done nothing except liquidate for the last decade.
Right.
All they keep doing, they've been in the longest rebuild in NHL history.
No kidding.
And not just them, they're building too. That's a disaster. So,
number one is the New Jersey Devils, by the way.
And they've done, I will give full credit. They've done a fantastic job of drafting, developing, trading, all of the above. Fitzy up there deserves full credit.
Carolina's number 2. Carolina's
great. They're great. Tampa's great.
No issues there. Dallas is 4.
Well, Jim Nill's done a good job there of restocking the cupboard. He had a lot of aging players that were getting right to the end. Instead of letting them hang on, he drafted and developed very well. So he's got Heiskanen on defense. He's got the Armstrong kid up front. Got a lot of good players.
I think for the most part, all the teams that are on this list above the Blues, other than Chicago, Arizona, and I had one more, Anaheim. I don't think Anaheim should be above the Blues.
Not currently, although Pat Verbeek has done a real good job since taking over there. He has completely righted the ship. They've got work to do.
For sure. And they have some exciting players, don't get me wrong. But I still... the way that the Blues dropped, I don't know if I agree with the steepness of that drop.
A lot of people here on the text line, and rightfully so, are saying, well, Army created this mess.
Which is true.
It's true.
All GMs create their own mess unless you're taking over a bad team.
But in fairness to the fans on this one, to our listeners, you're absolutely right. Do I agree with all the no trade clauses necessarily that are right there on the roster right now that have impeded him from making moves? No, but that was the going rate. That's what you needed to do to get these players.
This also goes to what we talked about yesterday, I think, in regards to the Cardinals. GMs have decisions to be made. We get to sit back and sit there and say, okay, well, yeah, you better make all the right moves and help my team win, which is what their job is. But they're actually in the arena. They're making decisions. Some decisions won't work out. Sometimes, to me, it's somebody like Doug Armstrong or even John Mozeliak for that. I'll just stick with Army here.
Yeah. Be careful, Anthony. You already stabbed.
Yeah, I had reason to, but when it comes to Army, you could see what the thought process is. It's not like he made dumb decision after dumb decision after dumb decision. You saw the thought process. It didn't work out. He probably got too stubborn with Alex Pietrangelo, right? He stuck too firmly to some of his beliefs.
I believe that one there, he'd like a mulligan of some kind.
But to your point, after it went sideways, what do? Do you sit here and tear it all down and look for a rebuild, or do you retool on the fly, which is what Army has done?
It's like
is doing.
It's like a ship captain, right? You make a bad decision, do you just jump off the boat and let it go? No, you grab the wheel and you try and steer that thing to safety.
Yep.
And that's what he's been doing ever since the Alex Pietrangelo moment. And another point that the text line brings up, and they're on their game today, the salary cap was completely affected by COVID and the bubble and all that crap.
Yeah, very true.
So if Army had been able to maneuver with a regular salary cap that was going up yearly, he probably would have been able to make some different moves. Now, that's every single GM in the league would have had more flexibility. But being a cap team like the Blues have been, it may have worked to Army's advantage. Either way, I'm not anointing him top 5 right now or the whole overall front office. I do think they make some really good decisions. I think Army sticks to his guns, whatever it is. He digs his heels and invests the way he's going. And I think he's got this thing turning in the right direction. I believe they're way higher than 21.
Jamie Rivers, Anthony Stalter, it's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. How can teams beat the Braves? And as we localize things, how can the Cardinals build a roster like the Braves? That's next on 101 ESPN.
Hope. Anthony, I feel like $1 million these days.
You have $1 million for me?
No, I feel like $1 million. I wish I had $1 million, but I don't. But I feel like it, which is just as good because my friends, our friends over at Mentality, have changed my life. I was in there today. Again, I got to see everybody over there, and they always greet you with a smile, having a good time, talking some sports right there in the lobby. Guys are digging it. It's awesome. Got some blood work done because they always keep track. Like every 5-10 weeks, they do the blood work for you, make sure that you're staying on track, your levels are good. I couldn't be happier. My testosterone was low, and some vitamins weren't there for me. That's all changed. I'm loving life.
Well, if you feel like you're constantly beating your head against the wall, which I've done, unfortunately, Jamie, you know that. But
highly frowned upon.
Yeah, I did it literally. You did it, metaphorically. But if you're constantly frustrated, why don't you get something done? Why don't you figure it out? Jamie and I are giving you a solution. Head down, see the great team at Mentality. They're fantastic. They're nice. They're pleasant to work with. They make you, and after a while, you're on their program. You feel fantastic. I was at the gym today. I was throwing on some dumbbells I haven't been throwing around in about 7 years, Jamie, but I felt good about it. And look, it is about getting back on track and feeling like you're the best version of yourself.
Yeah, take our advice. Visit the West County or South County locations. Tell them that Anthony and Jamie sent you in, and check with your insurance. Most insurances are covering this process for you, so don't look back, look forward, and you can visit them at lowtusa.com. That's Mentality at lowtusa.com.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cards currently tied with the Padres 3-3 in the bottom of the fifth. They are looking to pick up another win after winning last night in extra innings by a final score of 6-5. A big game from Wilson Contreras as Tommy Edman also drove in the game-winning run. We'll continue to give you updates on today's game between the Cards and the Pirates. But next, we're going to talk about how to beat the Braves. That's coming your way next right here in the Fast Lane. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
So ESPN.com released this story talking about how to beat the Braves. And I always enjoy these think pieces because they talk to MLB executives, not just, media personnel that are trying to figure it out from, that 500-foot view. These are MLB executives that were talking about how to beat the Braves. And we will localize this in a couple of minutes. But one executive summed it up this way. Talking about the Braves, I think they are dangerous because of their lineup depth. They've got 9 guys who could beat you offensively every single night, and they can do it in a number of ways. They hit the homer, run the bases, etc. Is what I meant to say. It would be difficult to imagine them having a week-long team-wide slump, so they should be able to score runs regardless of who is hot at that moment in time. There truly is a lead that is not safe when you face the Braves. It will be really hard to keep them down that many times. Plus, they can pitch. Their starting rotation is top heavy, which is exactly what you want in the postseason. They can roll out they can roll out a top of the rotation kind of starter in each of the first few games of a series, so they can match up with anyone. So what's the Braves' weakness? Braves bullpen right now ranks 28th in number of pitches, 96 miles per hour or above, which I feel like is the epitome of nitpicking. Like, what can we find? Oh, these guys don't really throw hard in the bullpen. Maybe you can get to their middle relief, one American League executive said. If they get down and throw a minus reliever, you might be able to extend a lead. That's any team. Which team can beat the Braves would be, kind of that the interesting question pushing forward here. On paper, there is no team that's better than the Braves. Certainly the Astros could give them a game or a series. The Rangers could give them a series because of their pitching. You go into the AL East, whether it's the Orioles, who are loaded with talent. They don't have a ton of starting pitching, though. Or the Rays, who lost their ace to Tommy John. Could they give them a series? Sure. But the Braves are absolutely loaded. It's just a matter of, could you face a Dodgers team that is experienced? Could you face a Brewers team that can't hit, but they can pitch?
No.
Phillies, loaded for bear. They got all the talent. The Phillies could be interesting, but the Braves, Jamie, they're the number one team. Now it's rare that the number one team in baseball heading into the postseason wins, because baseball's random and you get a smaller sample size of games, and anything can happen. But with this team, on paper, they're absolutely loaded in every facet of the game. Yeah,
it's hard to imagine a world where the Braves don't get to the World Series this year. The Phillies, to me, are the only team that can stop them. I know that I'm leaving out the Dodgers, that are a good team.
They don't necessarily have the pitching.
But I look at the Phillies, and they have the bats to do it. Like, they've got some smash in that lineup. And you're going to have that against the Braves. So that's the way I look at it. The text line brings up an interesting point, too. Said it's simple. The answer is that Atlanta charges for their zoo. That's how they've gotten to this point.
Thank you, text line, for backing me up on this.
Yep.
They charge.
I think
and they're World Series contender. That's fine.
I would argue that they're so good they don't need to throw a clause in there that charges people.
But maybe they were charging like 3 years ago.
That's a good point.
And they got a running start.
Do you think they started charging after they gave up 10 runs in the first inning in 2019?
Probably. That's the moment that they started
I
charging.
bet if you go back hours after that, the zoo was closed for renovations to where they're putting signs up.
Yeah.
$10 to get
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they figured it out.
So, Anthony, how do teams... How do you beat this team?
Yeah, how do you beat this team? Is you just hope their pitching sucks?
I do love the one exec saying, or the Braves rank 28th in number of pitches, 96 miles. That's basically saying like, well, the guy that fills up the water jug, he's got a bad track record. So maybe they lose that way. It's about sample size. There's nothing. You look at the Braves lineup, they're loaded. They can beat you in a multitude of ways, like this one exec was talking about. They also have guys that go to the post every single day. They know what their lineup is. They have stayed relatively healthy. They've had a bunch of guys on the IL throughout the course of the year, but it's been more pitchers than hitters. They've got starting pitching. Their bullpen. I mean, you look at some of the numbers. The bullpen's been very good all season long. So we're nitpicking when it comes to the Braves. However, you get into a 5 or 7 game series, and you just never know. The Phillies are going to throw Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler at you. Unfortunately, we found that out in St. Louis last year. 5-game series, and you face Nola and Wheeler, 1 and 2. Good luck. The Dodgers have good pitching, but they're doing it with guys that are largely inexperienced outside of Julio Urias. So maybe you get in a situation where it's like the Dodgers feel good about things, but they're less experienced than they have in years past. Now, Clayton Kershaw, we'll see where he is if he can stay healthy. But I look at this National League, and nobody has the combination of talent and experience like the Braves do. No. They are what they built is incredibly impressive. And if we localize and say, how did the Cardinals create a roster like the Braves? You're nowhere close. You're not in the same hemisphere as what the Braves are. And you have to stop mixing and matching like the Rays and Giants do. The Braves don't mix and match anything. They got the same 9 guys. Yeah, but relatively speaking.
I've thought back on this, by the way, because we talked about it the other day, how Paul DeYoung made the comment of their best players play every game. Yeah, they don't have to mix and match, Anthony. They don't have to.
But they play every day.
But they play every day.
They don't have to play every day.
The whole matchup thing, they don't care. They're like, they're so good, you have to match up with them.
Exactly.
They don't worry about it.
So most teams...
But most rosters aren't that good.
Well, how do you build it?
I don't know. If I had that answer, hell, I'd be in Major League Baseball building teams right now.
I'll tell you how they did it. They utilized every avenue of how to build a roster. It wasn't just about... We make a big deal out of free agency. Are the Cardinals going to get off their dead rear ends and pay somebody? It's one avenue of building a roster. And quite frankly, I think it's the worst. Because a lot of times you're hiring mercenaries to come in. At 28, 29 years old, if you're lucky, most guys are 31, 32. Their best baseball's behind them, and you're paying top dollar for them. Free agency is the worst avenue to build a roster. But the Braves have utilized their drafting to perfection. They've utilized the draft, the international market. They have executed trades, whether it was the World Series year when they brought in everybody at the deadline, or more recently when they brought in guys like Matt Olson and Sean Murphy. So they've been patient, but they've struck while the iron's hot when it comes to trades. They, find guys off of the scrap heap sometime to come in and fill in when they're banged up a little bit. Somebody like Charlie Morton, they bring him in when Charlie Morton, nobody really wanted him. The Braves are incredibly smart. They use everything when it comes to building a roster.
Do you think they use analytics to build the roster, whereas the Cardinals use analytics to basically on the field product?
I think all teams.
Does that make sense? I
think all teams use analytics both to evaluate and in the middle of games. Now, to what extent do the Braves utilize it compared to the Cardinals? I don't know. I mean, they could just send Matt Olson up there to just swing the bat, or Austin Riley, sure,
or Ronald Acuna Jr.
They're low. Ozzie Albies,
yeah,
Marcell Ozuna. They bring in Marcell Ozuna after the Cardinals are done with him, and he winds up being their DH. And while he's had plenty of off-the-field issues, he's somebody that provides 20 to 25 home runs a game too, or a season. It'd been pretty impressive if he did it a game. But they lose Freddie Freeman.
More impressive
and they
than
bring
his
in Matt
defense?
Olson. Yeah, right. They lose Freddie Freeman. They bring in Matt Olson. They didn't love the catching situation, although William Contreras, who, as he's proven in Milwaukee, is a pretty good player. But they know that their window's wide open to win championships, so they strike when Sean Murphy's available. They execute, quite frankly, better than any team outside of maybe the Dodgers and Astros. It's a Fast Lane on 101 at ESPN. Mizzou kicks off their season tomorrow night. Eli Drinkowitz, now in his fourth year, I believe?
Uh-huh.
What are proper expectations for the Drink? That's next on
National
101.
championship. Anthony, our guy Ron, the Wizard of Comfort, he's always got something going. Always got some kind of a great deal for his customers over there at Swiss Air Heating and Cooling. I saw Ron yesterday. He was in here recording a spot to get the word out that they've got the chill and grill sale going on. And what that is if you purchase a new HVAC system from Swiss Air, you get $1,200 back in instant rebate. You get extended parts and labor warranties, and you get the good old Blackstone Pro Series 5 burner 28-inch propane griddle with range top. I can almost smell the cooking.
I'm almost ticked that I didn't wait to have the HVAC unit replaced. I couldn't.
I'll just send him a text.
But the deal that the deal that we got from Swiss Air earlier, it was right around the time of the March Madness deal, was incredible as well. Swiss Air cannot be beat. If you're looking to replace your HVAC system, especially now with the deal that Jamie just brought up with the chill and grill, but if you're looking to replace the entire HVAC system, do it through Swiss Air. You will not beat their pricing. You will not beat the Daikin Fit system. Sleek design, quiet, does an incredible job, efficient. You won't beat the customer service from Swiss Air. The guys came in, did an outstanding job, laid down everything that they need to lay down in terms of getting my old unit out and keeping the house. The house looked better than what, after they left, before they came. But when it comes to Swiss Air, Jamie, and Ron, the Wizard of Comfort, you're going to get the best product, the best warranties, the best everything. And this chill and grill sale, man, it's awesome.
Yeah, and they love our 101 ESPN listeners. So when you call over there, tell them that Anthony and Jamie sent you. And all you have to do is call 636-500-2665. That's 636-500-COOL. Or visit them online at SwissAirSTL.com.
Mizzou kicks off its football season tomorrow night, and I'm looking forward to this rendition of the Mizzou Tigers. I think that this is a team, based on the talent level and the schedule, Jamie, where they should be competitive throughout. I mean, they've got a couple of, early games there, LSU being the key one, where they're going to get tested. But otherwise, they should roll throughout their schedule and be in a spot where, they might only have one loss heading into the second half of their season. The question is, though, what are proper expectations for Eli Drinkwitz? I think you got to throw away his first year. That was the pandemic year. I can't imagine it being a first-time head coach in any conference trying to take over while recruiting and doing all that, a lot of it via Zoom, and then the limited practice times that you had, a weird schedule, not knowing if you're even going to play on Saturday. I think you just got to toss that out. Let alone he's doing the SEC, the toughest conference in the nation. So toss that aside. 21, 22, and now he's heading into 23. So this is year 4, but this is kind of year 3 for Eli if you throw away the pandemic. I think he's done a remarkable job with recruiting. He's done an outstanding job. He might be one of the better recruiters that Mizzou has had from a head football coach standpoint. The problem is he hasn't done enough winning. And I know it's kind of just a bare bones, basic way to look at it. But that's what it's about. You show improvement, not through your recruiting classes, although that's part of the process, but you show improvement by winning games on Saturday nights and the occasional Thursdays. So when it comes to Drink, you gotta. I think you gotta win at least eight games this year.
Where are they getting those 8 wins, Anthony? I'm looking at the schedule, and I don't see it.
So
I don't see it at all.
That's the tough part.
But honestly, week 3 for these guys is Kansas State,
who crushed them last year.
Yeah. So I don't see these wins. I'm looking at the schedule, and I count 5 wins.
5 wins total?
Yeah. South Dakota, Mid-Tennessee, Memphis, Vanderbilt. And then I'm looking at the bottom half. I'm looking at Arkansas. I don't even think Kentucky's a gimme.
They're not a gimme, but that's a game.
Okay, so then let's add them in. 6 wins.
Ooh.
Look at the schedule.
Okay, so South Dakota 1, Middle Tennessee 2. Kansas State, I think, is a toss-up. You should beat Memphis. That would be 3. You got to beat Vanderbilt. That's 4.
You're not beating LSU.
That's going to be tough.
Kentucky, toss-up.
South Carolina is good, but I think they're beatable. You got a couple of swing games. Kansas State's a swing game. Kentucky, South Carolina.
The rest aren't. Arkansas.
Tennessee. I mean, can you beat Tennessee at home?
Come on, Anthony.
You got a home game late November. But this is what I'm talking about, though, Jamie.
This is what I'm talking about.
But you have to improve yourself at some point, right?
Yeah, try, but I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening.
Boy, you are negative.
I'm not. I'm looking at this schedule, and the back half of this schedule is pretty tough.
Next thing you're going to tell me is they don't have a quarterback.
Have they declared who's going to start?
No. Which could be problematic.
So I want to believe. I really do. I mean, if there's anything I want is for Mizzou to be successful. Obviously, I got personal ties to the school. My daughter's a graduate there. And I enjoyed going there, and I love everything that Mizzou stands for. I don't know if they're getting to 7 wins. I don't know if they're getting to 6 wins. It's going to be a tough year. And the fact that they don't have a bona fide starter right now at the quarterback position, or maybe they do, but they haven't told us. And Eli Drinkwitz supposed to be this offensive guy, and the offense has been, it's been fine, but.
Yeah, his offense is, that's probably the thing I've been most disappointed in, quite frankly. I've been pleasantly surprised with his recruiting. But when they hired him from Appalachian State, and granted he was only there for a year, but I thought they were bringing in a play caller that was going to, certainly not reinvent the wheel. SEC's tough. Defenses are still tough, despite the conference, growing from just everybody's gonna play great defense and run the ball to what it is now. But I thought we were going to see a lot more than just All right, we're just going to do a bunch of RPOs, and that's it. We're good. Have a couple of smaller backs, do the RPO thing, try to win every game 23-20. I thought we were going to see a little bit more of a wide open offense, but to the point that we just brought up, if you don't have the quarterback, and he has yet to find one that really fits his system, if you don't have the quarterback, it's going to be very difficult to elevate your offense.
Yeah. I want them to win 10 games. But, some of the text lines spouting off to me, which is hilarious all the time, just says, the Vegas money has them over 90% of the money has Mizzou at 6.5 wins. I don't necessarily know if that's true or not. It certainly doesn't tell me that they're going to win 6.5 or 7 games.
Oh, can I explain? Can I explain something?
I've been told, of course, to stick to hockey. It's great.
Can I explain something with the Vegas stuff?
Please.
Okay. When you're looking at the where the money is, people misconstrue that. When you're talking about the money being on a certain side, people misconstrue that to mean that the sharps are on that side. That does not mean that. It means that at that sports book, or some sites use 4 or 5 different sports books, whether it's Vegas or online.
Yeah.
They use those sports books, and they tally the number of times somebody bets on a certain side. So in other words, you could get Marsh, Jamie, me, everybody at 101 ESPN, like 20 of us, to all bet the over for Mizzou's win total. That doesn't mean anything. So you got 100% of the 20 people betting on Mizzou to go over their win total.
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything.
We're not sharps.
The Sharps have it at 6.5 right now for a reason.
It is when you see the line movement go the other way and the ticket count be high, that is an indication that the guys that do this for a living are on that side. For example, Mizzou, let's say Mizzou and LSU, okay? 85% of the money is on LSU minus 10. I'll just use a random number, minus 10. But before kickoff, or a day or so before kickoff, the line drops to 9. If everybody's on LSU, the line should go the other way. But if it's going down, that is an indication that sharp money is on that side. So the people, and I'm just trying to provide a little perspective here. So for the people that are saying 90% of the money is on Mizzou to go over their win total, I'm sorry, that means nothing.
That means 90%.
That means you and your buddies,
Mizzou fans,
right? You and your buddies are
going to win more
over.
than 6.5 games.
And I'll go back to
with
this.
all due respect,
I'll go back to this. They have it set at 6.5 because that's a number that makes people struggle.
Right.
They don't have, trust me, Vegas isn't doing you a favor by saying 6.5, bet the over, man. It's guaranteed. We love Mizzou. We want all of you guys to win your money. They're not doing that. They're putting it at 6.5 because they have looked at this schedule. They have done all the matchups, and they think to themselves, if they win 7, that will be a feat. That will be something. So to bet the over, they're going to have to really bring their A game. Now, they might only win 6 games because the schedule is a little daunting in certain parts of it. That's why it's set at 6.5. That's why you can't let just your inner Mizzou Tiger fandom just say, well, there's no way they won't win 7 games. There's a reason it's set at 6.5 because they know a lot more than we do.
Yeah. Yeah, the line makers this is how they make their money. All right. Best of luck, though. I'm hoping we see some magic this year from Mizzou. I like Drink. I do.
I want them to. I said I'd love to see them win 10 games. I don't care. I want them to win.
I want to see Luther Burden.
But you asked for the truth and you asked for my opinion, and damn it, that's what you get.
I want to see Luther Burden go off.
Like it or not.
I want to see him have a big year. I want to see Mizzou have a big year. I would love to talk SEC football all season long. It's one of my favorite things. But Mizzou's got to be, at the very least, they got to be relevant. So we'll see. I think the first test is Kansas State. That's the first test, and then we'll go from there. It's a Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Did Jimmy G just throw shade at the Niners? You're going to have to listen to this to kind of determine it, but I think he did. That's next on 101 ESPN. 3:05, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Trey Lance was traded over the weekend from the 49ers to the Dallas Cowboys for a 4th-round pick. And Jimmy Garoppolo, was on SI.com's Robin Lundberg, the show. I don't know if it's a show or podcast. Lundy. And he was asked about the Trey Lance situation. This is what Jimmy G had to say.
What did you make of the Trey Lance trade to Dallas?
Weird situation. Been a lot of weird situations over there in San Francisco. Just to leave it at that. But, I'm happy Trey got another shot, man.
How do you think San Francisco's handled those quarterback situations?
How do you think they've handled them?
I think it's been messy. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, that's a nice way to put it.
Wow.
I've got a take on this, by the way. Go ahead.
Well, okay, so this is what I'll say on this. This is not the Cleveland Browns. This is an organization that constantly has screwed up quarterback situation, after quarterback situation and after draft pick. This is the 49ers, who since John Lynch took over, have had John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan. They've had nothing but success, and it's not to say that they haven't had missteps. The Trey Lance trading up for Trey Lance, historic failure. They moved on. They recognized, hey, this isn't going to work out. They moved on quickly. It doesn't take away the fact that that's a horrible deal for the Niners. But this is an organization that largely knows what it's doing. So for Jimmy G to say that, and I know it was kind of a rocky situation a year ago, but for Jimmy G to say, yeah, a lot of weird things happen in San Francisco, I think it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, so here's my take on it. Full take is that the only thing that's made it weird in San Francisco has been drafting Trey Lance at 3. And since John Lynch has done that, he has tried to force the square peg in the round hole because that's a top 5 pick, top 3 pick that you just drafted to your organization that isn't working out. Mm. So from the moment he drafted Trey Lance, the thought was he was going to take over, be the next guy. He was right behind Jimmy G. And so Jimmy G probably didn't appreciate the way he was treated, certainly when they put Trey Lance as the starter last year, and then went, ooh, okay. Hey, Jimmy, remember when we didn't have you as the starter? We were just kidding. So that's probably what Jimmy G's talking about when he says there's a lot of weird things that go on, right?
Yeah, sure.
So probably the fact that they drafted him, then they tried to force feed him into the lineup as the starting quarterback, and then obviously this year, with the way things have gone to where he wasn't even in the running for it, they bring in Sam Darnold as the backup guy, and then they trade Trey Lance. That's my take on what I just heard Jimmy G say.
Yeah.
Basically, didn't want to really rip the organization, Lynch in particular, for drafting him and trying to force feed the guy into the lineup. But he kind of was like, yeah. Trey Lance, to me, is the common denominator in all of this weirdness.
Right.
Not the individual, but just the fact that he was drafted so high, didn't pan out. They tried to make sure he played. It didn't work. They wanted it again. It didn't work. Now they've traded him for a 4th rounder. Mm-hmm. To me, that's my take on that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're probably right. And I guess if you look back at the weird, I mean, you could say that there's a lot of weird things happening in Green Bay, too. Jordan Love gets drafted. Aaron Rodgers spirals out of control.
Well, Favre
then wins an MVP. Yeah,
Favre says, I'm not his teacher. And then Rodgers basically says, I'm not here to develop Jordan Love. It was like, what are we doing? It's bizarro world.
Yeah, but eventually Aaron Rodgers is out. Even the Matt Ryan situation in Atlanta, they started to show a little bit of interest in Deshaun Watson. And Matt Ryan's like, whoa, okay, well, I don't like that. And the Falcons essentially say, okay, well, we're going to trade you because we're rebuilding. We could use the cap space. So they deal him. I guess it's any quarterback situation. I mean, Peyton Manning didn't even finish in Indianapolis, of all guys. Tom Brady did not finish in New England. At some point, these guys, they front offices are going to look to draft the next guy, which is what they should do, by the way. If the Packers didn't look for Brett Favre's replacement, they would not have wound up with Aaron Rodgers. If Bill Walsh did not look for Joe Montana's replacement, they would not have traded for Steve Young. At some point, you have to move forward.
Well, yeah, you have to, or you end up in an absolute disastrous situation to where you're franchise quarterback is now gone or aged out, and you got nothing.
Yeah, and you got nothing. Exactly right. Hey, you can play in the Pick'em Challenge. Get signed up to play this year's Fastlane Pick'em Challenge at 101ESPN.com. Make your football picks each week and see if you can defeat us, the Fastlane, and the dudes from the Rizzuto Show, the Fastlane and the Riz Show, throwing down all football season long in the Pick'em Challenge. You get signed up to play now at 101ESPN.com, courtesy of Bud Light. Jamie Rivers, Anthony Stalter, we do have some Blues cues coming up at the bottom of the hour, so why don't you start getting those in for us. 314-399-9646. Again, if you got a Blues-related question for us, great. 314-399-9646. We're going to do our Blues cues segment at the bottom of the hour. But Marsh threw out an interesting question regarding the Cardinals and two teams that they might try to emulate, but those two teams are almost exact opposites. We'll get to that next on 101 ESPN. It's the Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Again, make sure you get your Blues cues in right now. 314-399-9646. 15 minutes, we'll do our Blues cue segment. But, Marsh, you had thrown out an interesting question to us in the office. related to the Cardinals and who they're trying to be, and you threw out two teams, but two teams that I think are distinctly different.
Yeah, so we actually were just talking about the Braves. The Braves are one of the two teams, and obviously everyone, you're probably thinking, well, of course, I'd love to be the Braves. They're the best team in Major League Baseball. That's a team that they put the same guys out every single night for the most part. The other team is the San Francisco Giants, who sort of do this plug and play type thing where you have a bunch of no-name dudes that we never even heard of, and somehow they're in a wild card position trying to make the playoffs. And they did that
throwing near no-hitters.
Exactly. They did that 2 years ago, too, and ended up winning the division. So I'm wondering, what is the best route for this roster? Obviously, I feel like a lot of people are probably going to think in their head, you want to be the Braves, obviously, but what can this roster be? Because I feel like now they're trying to do the plug and play thing and mix and match, do all these different lineups and whatnot. And it's not working. They're trying to be the Giants, but they just can't, and they can't be the Braves.
Right. So you said it well when you said everybody's going to pick the Braves. That's what they should. That's what they should aspire to be. That's the best team in baseball. So if you're building a roster and you're looking to build a roster in a certain way, do what the Braves did. You got to have a lot of smart people. You got to make the right decisions, and those decisions have to pay off. But to your last point about who they're trying to be, with the way that they mix guys into the lineup. You look at with Tommy Edman and Brendan Donovan playing different positions, infielders, outfielders, mix, match. Jordan Walker is not a true outfielder, but they don't have another spot for him. They're playing him in the outfield. They mix and match a lot. Dylan Carlson can be kind of the forgotten man at times. Tyler O'Neill, when he's healthy, is he a regular start? There's all these questions constantly with the Cardinals. You cannot. I've made this point before. You cannot have Nolan Arenado, Wilson Contreras, and Paul Goldschmidt and do the Giants thing. You can't. You can't have those three guys and do the Rays thing. You have to build a team where you pretty much have a set 8, and then build a bench, and that's going to require you to make some hard decisions in the offseason to trade guys. But you also need pitching. So why not trade if you can? Trade some of these accent pieces that do have major league talent and major league service time to other teams that are willing to give up a little pitching. You're in that. You have that advantage. When it comes to the Giants are a balance of guys that were run off other rosters. Mike Yastrzemski didn't really do anything until he's 28, 29 years old. Then finally found his home with the Giants. One-year deals like a Mitch Haniger this season, or name any pitcher on the Giants, and then a bunch of young guys, Patrick Bailey and Luciano and Matos and all these. They're a combination because they don't mind playing guys for half a game, and those guys don't mind either.
Because they're winning.
They know what they're.
That does help.
In other words, let's simplify this. When the Giants players get to the clubhouse every day, they know what their role is. Mm-hmm. When the Braves players get to the clubhouse every day, they know what their role is. We can say that for most of the Cardinals, but not everyone. And I think that they're constantly caught in between. Like, they want to play the matchups. They want to do the righty-lefty thing. They want to do this. They want to do that. And they don't give enough runway for some of these younger players to just get the reps. Dylan Carlson, I think, is a perfect example of that. Some people feel as though Dylan Carlson can't play. Okay, maybe he can't. But at 24 years old, he has not had an extended run. He's in the lineup one time. He's out for 2 games. And he's in the lineup for 2 games, and he's out for 2 games. If you're the Giants and you have a bunch of kind of half players, you can do that. But you notice the Braves don't do that. They got 8 dudes.
Yeah.
And they're going to play every day.
So I guess where I went automatically with this topic is that the Cardinals are stuck in between. And you said it in that last little bit there. They're stuck in between.
Yep.
Because they have Goldie, Contreras, and Arenado that are your for sures, right? Or at least they should be. Every now and then they get Contreras off his feet. But when he's not catching, most of the time he's DHing.
Yeah.
But then the rest of their roster is, they're playing matchups.
Yep.
I don't know if you can do both and be successful.
I agree.
Like you're either in it or you're not. So then I guess the Cardinals' biggest project this offseason becomes how do you create
your best 8?
Your best 8. And who are your best 8?
Right.
Identify that right now. And you can't, if you're the Cardinals front office, you can't get stuck in the pattern then of going, well, this is my 8, but if they have a lefty on the bomb, this is my 8 over here. Because now you're just repeating the cycle.
That's what the Giants do.
I know.
Which is fine.
But
for them,
I feel like the Cardinals only pick and choose.
I agree.
Who their matchup guys are.
Exactly.
Like at the start of the season, Gorman would never face a left-handed pitcher.
It was illegal, actually.
But then you had guys that were batting, like Carlson from the left-hand side, which is he's not a good left-handed batter, but they'd play the matchup with him against a righty because he had the left-handed bat, but you're probably better off just going with a right-handed bat in that situation because Carlson wasn't doing the damage he needed to do anyways.
It's a great point.
So it's like, why are we playing matchups that may not be as successful just because we're playing matchups?
Agreed. I couldn't agree more.
We got a text from the 636. It's funny, Mo, in his effort to build the perfect analytics team, has somehow built an ideal whitey ball squad, except for the fact that this team doesn't produce runs like those teams did.
Yeah. If you're so again, you're going in the offseason. Why don't you take a page out of the 49ers book? You just saw what they did with Trey Lance. They selected him 3rd overall in the NFL draft, traded up for him, recognized that he wasn't going to get up to speed anytime soon. And they're a championship club. And they said, we just got to move on. We got to move on. We made a mistake. Let's move on. Let's get a 4th round pick and let's get on with our lives. We'll take the heat initially, but if Trey Lance never pans out, it's going to sting less. Do you guys feel the Cardinals do that? Because I don't.
No, I don't think they move on at all. I think
Tyler O'Neill is a perfect example of that.
Well, I think that Randy Arozarena absolutely ripped John Mozeliak's soul out.
Right.
As far as moving on from players.
Right.
To where I believe he's hung on to certain players longer than he should have based off of the Randy Arozarena effect.
I agree.
It's a tough way to run any kind of sports franchise.
You got to let go.
You can't be looking in the rearview mirror.
The fans, us in the media, we'll take our pot shots with the Randy Arozarena trade, but you got to move on. You can't be traumatized by one deal.
The 618 says that they overhype a lot of their mediocre talent, and now they're having to weed through it. And maybe the texter makes a good point that Mo feels like he has to showcase this talent because they've somewhat overhyped these players. Like, oh, Dylan Carlson, he's going to be this, and he was good for a season, and then he's been okay.
I feel like they've overhyped them, though, before they hit the majors.
100%, 100%.
And in fairness to the Cardinals, every sports franchise does that with their first-round picks, their top prospects.
There you go.
Because they truly believe in what they've selected. And then when they get to the majors, sometimes it looks different. And then at that point, sometimes you overextend the invitation because it should look different. And we were really high on this guy. And that's where you get stuck in the pattern of hanging on too long. To your point 2 seconds ago about Trey Lance, they moved on from him, but it took them 3 years to move on from him. 2 seasons, this would be the 3rd season.
Yeah.
So it's not always automatic that you recognize it's time to move on.
I don't mind. Not that I don't mind. Hyping up prospects doesn't. I don't care either way. Think about it this way: if you're Mo and you're asked about Mason Wynn or Jordan Walker or in the past Dylan Carlson, why wouldn't you say, we love him? We love this kid. Can't wait to see him. We're so excited for him. As opposed to, well, I don't know, he's got a lot to work on, even if he does.
I think it was the cold dead hands that ruined it.
Sure.
Like, I think Army and Mo both have one thing each they'd like to take back as far as what they've said to the media. For Army, it would be
Parayko.
He's the alpha dog now.
Right.
I think he'd like that one back and word it just a little differently.
Mm-hmm.
And for Mo, I think it's the cold dead hands that he'd like to have back and probably say something along the lines of, it would take quite a bit for us to move on from Dylan Carlson because he's such a great player.
Right.
So it's not cold dead hands here.
Sure. Either way, you want other GMs, you want other scouts in other cities. You want your fans to be excited, certainly. Now you set them up for disappointment too, but you create a little excitement. Plus, again, you get some other team. It's like at one point you said he wouldn't, cold dead hands. Mm-hmm. Maybe he can't play, and you ship him out. I don't think even being realistic matters when it comes to the prospects.
I do think
it does nothing for you.
There's a lot of frustration from Cardinal fans, though, because they do hear, oh, this guy, he's great, we love him. And then they don't pan out. Like the guys that end up panning out are the guys that we don't really hear about. Brendan Donovan, Lars Nootbaar. Name all the guys that have panned out over the last 10 years that have been really highly touted prospects in this organization. And that goes to the question of, are the Cardinals developing these guys correctly?
Why can't, but part of this is on us as fans and the media. Why don't we use our own eyes to evaluate? And I'm talking to everybody. I'm talking to myself. You said he was good. Mm-hmm. What did you think? What did you think? As opposed to, why don't we take a little ownership, a little accountability in using our own eyes to watch the games and say, this dude can't play. Or this guy, I really like him, he can play. He's got a couple, as opposed to John Mozeliak answering a question, or Doug Armstrong answering a question about a young guy that you want to sell. As a fan, I think at some point you say, okay, well, I'm not buying what the organization is saying. I'm just going to wait and watch myself.
And maybe a lot of people are doing that now.
Maybe
they're not getting fooled anymore.
Yeah. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, well, you can't fool me again.
Fool me, can't get fooled again.
All right, it's Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Blues Cues next. If you got questions, 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line, or our YouTube channel at 101 ESPN STL. Blues Cues next. Went down to the Missouri Athletic Club. I could spend hours in there, man. I talked about working out, using the sauna, and using some of the equipment that they have there. At one point, I looked over and they had the boxing bags up as well. The Missouri Athletic Club, great spot. Get all my workout stuff done. Have a great meal there. Prep for the show. Use their business center. If I want to take classes, I could do that, whether it's racquetball or any sort of fitness class that they have going on. The downtown spot, perfect for different events, but I enjoy making the Missouri Athletic Club part of my daily routine. That's the MAC.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Cardinals trail the Padres 4-3 in the bottom of the eighth. We'll continue to update you on today's game throughout the remainder of the show, but we have our Blues Cues coming up next. If you have any questions regarding your St. Louis Blues or the NHL in general as we approach the 2023-2024 season, send them our way to the Air Comfort Service text line 314-399-9646. We'll answer your Blues Cues next right here in the Fast Lane. I'm Andrew Marsh, and this Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
It's time for the Fast Lane's Blues Cues.
That's right. Time for the Blues Cues here in the Fast Lane. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line, or our YouTube channel at 101 ESPN STL. If you want to leave us a question there in the chat room, you can. But Marsh, fire away with some Blues Cues.
All right, let's start with the 314 Blues Cues. The topic with the Cards has been, why should we believe they can turn it around from this season based off of the mistakes they've made the last couple of years? So my same question is with the Blues. Why should I believe that this front office that's made mistakes the last couple of seasons that has led up to last season will be able to turn it around within 2 years?
Well, define turn it around. You know, is turn it around get back in the playoffs, or is it winning the division for the Blues? Because I think that if it's get back in the playoffs, I think you can be optimistic that this team can push for a playoff spot next year. And to go from what seemed to be an abysmal year last year, according to, recent standards for this team, to be able to push for a playoff spot right away again in a quick retool, I'd say that that's pretty good.
I like the way you phrased that. I think the expectation should be to get back to the playoffs after missing it last year and having to retool. And I do think, I agree with you. I think the Blues can absolutely make the playoffs this season.
Yeah, and then I think that Army gets another trade deadline and another off season. I think that this team's looking pretty good after that.
Yep.
Question from the 636. How does Craig Berube manage the defensive pairings if Torrey Krug and Scott Perunovich are healthy at the same time?
Well, are they both playing to the same level, right? That's where I go with it, is you have Torrey Krug that has a resume that backs up everything that he's done in the past. But again, that's in the past. Scott Perunovich doesn't have a resume yet. And physically, they're close to being the same size. Stylistically, they kind of bring the same thing to the table. For my dollar's worth, Scott Perunovich has to outplay Torrey Krug to take that spot. You're paying $6.5 million with a no-trade clause that kind of bit you in the offseason. And Torrey Krug, again, go back, look at the numbers. He's one of the top-scoring defensemen on the power play in the last 10 years.
Yeah, you got to earn it.
You're not just handing it off to Scott Perunovich. It's not a situation where Krug's on his final year of his deal and it's the changing of the guard and all that stuff. If they're both healthy and they're both playing well, Scott Perunovich has to do something above and beyond that Torrey Krug cannot do in order to take that spot.
We got a question from Thanks Dad. Not only does he text in interesting things, but he also has interesting questions. Can a player like Cappy or Verana have any kind of leadership role, or are they just there along for the ride?
Cappy does have a leadership role, and I don't mean like a letter on his jersey, but from talking to the players last year, coaching staff, and the individual himself, he's old school. His dad played in the NHL for a really long time. I played against his dad, so the kid grew up in the locker room, so to say, so he understands how it works. And when he got here last year, the guy said that he was awesome, that he was great in the locker room. He was great with things on the road and just things like that in general. So I think that kind of falls naturally into his personality, as to be someone that's part of the solution, leadership-wise. Verana's a little more quiet, a little more to himself. Doesn't mean he's not a leader, but I wouldn't count on him to be the guy that you're turning to for leadership of this team. I think that for Jacob Verana, it's going to be to consistently produce offensively without being a detriment defensively.
FedEx Brian wants to know, is it imperative that the Blues re-sign Booch either during the season or at the end of the season?
Well, tough one. Army doesn't usually like to sign contracts somewhere once the season is started. I could see Army approaching Booch right before the regular season starts and offering a contract extension. Now, to be fair to all parties involved, Booch doesn't have to take that deal. He's going to be a unrestricted free agent at the end of, not this year, I believe it's next year. And if he continues to produce at the pace that he did last year, he's going to probably want to cash his own ticket into a pretty nice contract for himself, probably long-term as well. So when you look at this, he's 5.8 this year, 5.8 next year, and he's unrestricted. What's the threshold for Army? Does he pull the regular Army and talk about, well, we're just going to move on from this player? Or does he see enough value in a really solid two-way player that'll be 30 years old come unrestricted free agency? I would throw a 4-year deal at him at that point. What that money looks like, I can't even imagine because I don't know where the cap will be at that point. I think Army kicks the tires, but I think this one plays out to the end. We'll see.
Anthony, you might know this one from the 314. What's the hockey equivalent of spin rate?
Probably clearing it out of the zone as quickly as possible.
I was thinking.
No.
Time in the neutral zone.
Spin rate.
I don't think there is an equivalent.
No, it's
Thinking.
It's like slap shot would be hard hit rate.
yeah.
But I don't know what spin rate would be.
Yeah, maybe the
That's tough.
elevation of a sauce pass. I don't know.
Maybe how much? How much?
What?
How much movement you put on a puck? when
Yeah.
you're shooting.
Maybe if you're snapping one like Austin Matthews, the distance between the stick moving from the initial shot to where it finishes.
Right.
And he drags it in and snaps it off.
I don't know.
I just made that up.
I just think of what's his name, Tyler from Mighty Ducks with the knuckle puck.
Yeah.
I think he's the only one that would have a spin rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not really, because when you shoot the puck, it's actually spinning. Like when you pass the puck, it's spinning, but it's not like end over end.
Well,
It's
that's
like
not
a
what
plate.
Tyler Johnson did.
You know in the circus when they're spinning the plates
Yeah.
on top of the stick?
Right.
That's how the puck is spinning.
Yeah, but Tyler from the Mighty Ducks, he got that thing.
Yeah.
It was going end over end and up and down.
That's not really spinning, it's flipping.
Either way, that's what he was doing.
Huh.
Tilted that bad Johnson on its side, gave it a
He
whack.
sure did. Yeah.
Good old Russ Tyler.
Well
Russ
said.
Tyler.
Well
Russ
said,
Tyler.
Anthony.
Yeah, Jamie, you missed our conversation about the Mighty Ducks the other day.
Oh boy, I can just imagine.
It was brilliant.
yeah, we were.
I'm sorry. Some said it was brilliant.
Yeah.
Someone said.
Although
someone
Marshy
said
screwed up
the,
yeah, the school.
I did screw up one of the schools.
Okay, so someone brought up a good one here from the 636, going back to the spin rate.
Yeah.
Someone said you could say deflection
Okay.
Okay.
That's not bad.
because it changes the direction.
Direction
it's
of
not
the puck.
bad at all.
That's not bad.
What about the
Direction.
It's the closest we're going to get, I think.
Don't sound defeated. I don't like that.
I'm not defeated. I'm just making a decision on this,
I warned you.
and we move forward. Hey, I'm making a decision on this, and we're moving forward.
what about the goalies post to post? How quick they can move laterally?
Like I said, Marcia, we made a decision.
Yeah. Okay.
And we're pushing forward.
All right. All right.
Be
We got
here all day
one
with
more.
this.
Whether you like it or not, we're pushing forward.
Exactly.
All right, one more here. I just brought up goaltending. You brought up Russ Tyler, who was the goalie
Oh, that's right.
for a shift, which I still to this day have no idea how they did that. But
That's right. Gear change.
for the 636, does Joel Hofer become the Blues starter at some point next season?
Nah. I think. Listen, Blues fans, I understand how. Maybe you've soured on Jordan Binnington, or you don't believe like you once did. I'm telling you, there's still a really elite goalie in there. And Joel Hofer has all the makings to be a great NHL goalie. I just don't think it's next year. I think that he'll get his 25 to 30 games, which he should. I think he's going to play very well, and we should all be hoping for that. At the same time, we should be hoping that Jordan Binnington also recaptures his game and gives you what he did for a number of years before that, and specifically playoff Binnington. So I don't think next year is the year. I really do believe that both goalies are going to have good seasons for the Blues.
That's Jamie Rivers. That's our guy, Andrew Marsh. I'm Anthony Stalter. The Fast Lane has your chance to win a pair of tickets right now for St. Louis Blues night at the Cardinals game, which is on Friday, September 15th. Fans will receive a Cardinals and Blues-inspired quarter-zip windbreaker, courtesy of Bally Sports Midwest. Our guy, Mike Ryder, said it's incredible. He loves it. He loves the look of it. So
yeah, I noticed he was trying to barter with people already.
He
hasn't
was,
even
yeah.
handed out yet. It's kind of weird.
Honestly, I don't blame Ryder for doing that.
It's a fantastic jacket. There's no doubt.
You got to get what you want, you know? Go out and get it. Get all the ticket info for St. Louis Blues night at the Cardinals game at cardinals.com/theme. And you could text in right now to the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646. We have a trivia question for you today. We wanted to do a Cardinals and Blues theme, or at least a baseball and hockey theme question. So Jamie cooked up a good question for us.
Yeah, we had Mike Matheny on not too long ago, and in talking to Mike and knowing his family as well as we do, and I know his family very well, his daughter played hockey, D1 hockey, at which college?
There you have it. If you have the correct answer and you're the 101st texter at the 314-399-9646 Air Comfort Service text line number, you'll have a chance to go see the Cardinals for the St. Louis Blues night on September 15th. We're going to do NFL contender or pretender, but we got different categories for each pretender or contender. That's next on 101 ESPN. Time to play NFL Contender or Pretender. We group these teams into specific categories, though, because if you just say Contender or Pretender, okay, for what, though? So why don't we start off with the Super Bowl? These teams, are they contenders or pretenders to win the Super Bowl?
To win it.
To win it, or how about this? At least get there.
Oh, now you've just changed it again. Which one is it?
Super Bowl to at least get there, all right? Represent their conference in the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. The Buffalo Bills. Pretender or contender, Jamie?
Oh, pretender. In that conference, pretender. There's no way. Sorry, Donnie Fandango, if you're listening, although I feel like you think the same thing, even though you're a passionate Bills fan. I think that there's some doubt in there. Yeah, pretender for me. Sorry, guys.
Marsh?
I'm going contender. I think they can get there. They've been so close.
Doesn't sound convincing.
No, it doesn't.
They're always there. They're always in the mix. Why, maybe this is the year they end up doing it.
So I don't love their O-line, and they got injury problems there, but I think they got a top 10 defense. They had a lot of injury luck, bad luck last year, so a lot of bad injury luck last year. But they still got Josh Allen. They're going to be a handful to deal with in September and October when the weather's nice. It's just, can they be physical when the weather starts to turn? But I still think that team is good enough, coaching-wise, quarterback-wise, defense-wise, to be a Super Bowl, a legit Super Bowl contender. How about the Bengals this year, guys?
That's a tough one. I'm going to say pretender.
Jamie's in a pretender mood today.
No, I'm looking. Listen, to get to the Super Bowl, that's a very serious thing, Anthony. You can't just have every team make the Super Bowl.
Can't hand it to them.
No, and that offensive line still scares the heck out of me that Joe Burrow might get actually murdered again this year. They really haven't done much. They've kind of improved it. But that guy was still running around like he was on fire last year.
Part of it's him. He holds the ball on a long time. He'll admit that. Get the damn ball out of your hand,
okay,
Joe.
Fine. He holds the balls too long. That's fine.
No,
he needs
one
to get
ball.
rid of the
They
balls.
play with one ball.
No, there's several in a game, though, Anthony. So overall, there's several.
I think you could still say you hold the ball too long.
But they don't use just the one ball. They use lots of balls in the game. Every down, there's a different ball out there. Yeah. So he hangs onto the balls too long. That's on him. However, the offensive line, still not good enough for me. It's a pretender.
All right.
Contender. They haven't done anything.
He's got two. How can you have two teams in the same conference making the Super Bowl?
Okay, this is come on,
that's
Jamie.
not the exercise, Jamie.
I took this seriously? I'm sorry you guys didn't.
I don't think you understand the exercise.
Everybody's a contender now. That's it.
That's the whole premise.
It's not.
It's not who's going to the Super Bowl. It's can they get to the Super Bowl?
Well, I look at it differently. My criteria is a lot more strict than you guys. You guys have your fun. Andrew, go ahead. Pick another contender.
Well, I'll stick with Cincinnati. They are a contender for me. They were a late hit out of bounds from possibly going to the Super Bowl 2 years in a row. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to say, of course, they're a contender.
I'm going to say they're a pretender this year.
What?
I think that they lost. They lost both of their safeties. They lost both of their safeties. Joe Burrow entering the year with a calf injury. The O-line I think is fine. I think they're a top 12 O-line. They've got more than enough talent on the outsides, but one of the reasons why they struggled last year at times was they couldn't run the ball. They were a very physical team in one of those games. It was against Buffalo. But they lost kind of their guy that was getting a lot of the hard yards in Samaje Perine. So he's gone now. Joe Mixon's a good back, but I wonder if they start to struggle a bit. Plus, it's tough to continue to get back to the AFC title game over and over and over again. Better division, conference is still stacked. I got them in the pretender category. 49ers, contender. One of the best rosters in football. I'm not worried about Brock Purdy in that system. If they get, assuming they get Nick Bosa in and get a new deal for him, that's a loaded front seven, loaded defense. Christian McCaffrey, full season. I got them as a contender.
Yeah, absolutely.
Contender.
They're a contender.
Yeah,
right.
Contender.
Cowboys, absolute pretender.
Absolutely. Move on. Next question.
Whoa. They got Trey Lance now, guys.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah. Pretender.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love the defense. Love
Yeah,
the
you do.
defense.
Sure.
Love that D, Jamie. You and I were talking about it earlier today. You said you love the D too.
I love it, especially down in Dallas.
Absolutely. Well, it's
Where
big D.
everything's bigger in Texas,
That
too.
is correct, Andrew.
Absolutely. We can verify. But Dak Prescott's got to cut down on the turnovers. Is Tony Pollard going to be able to? Is he going to stay healthy? Is Mike McCarthy, that transition, going back to his offense, is that going to be fine? I got a lot of questions with Dallas. The Ravens. Are the Ravens a contender or pretender for the Super Bowl?
I think they're a contender. I
don't
like to
sound
believe.
convinced.
What's that? Well, listen, again, I take this very seriously, so I'm not just handing out contender medals here. But looking at Lamar Jackson, he's got some weapons. They're going to have a bit of a running game, a better running game this year than they did before. And so they're based off that, they're a contender. What'd I miss?
By the way, for
my.
the second straight day, the Cardinals walked off the Padres.
Did you see that
And for the
sequence?
second straight day.
Edmond.
And for the second straight day, it was Tommy Edmond set up by Mason Wynn.
Mason Wynn hit a single. He rounded first like he was being chased.
Yep.
Slid into second, and then Tommy Edmond just hit one to end it.
Tommy Edmond, walk-off home run at Busch Stadium. And the Cardinals defeat the Padres. Back-to-back walk-offs.
This team's going places.
This team is turning it around.
Yeah, they are. Just in time for a late season push.
About, I think, midnight tonight. Marsh is going to get a text from the
Let's
Cardinals.
not go that far.
And it's gonna have
Absolutely
one
not.
question, 2 words. You up.
All jokes aside, guys, this is what I want. As a Cardinals fan, I want things to cheer for. I want things that make me happy.
Just win, baby.
I know they're out of the playoffs. There's no fantasy there. But seeing this kind of stuff,
Yeah.
this is fun. Look at these guys.
A little bit of life to them.
Yeah.
All right, well, real quick. So, Jamie, you said the Ravens.
I said
Contender?
Contender, yes.
Marsh.
Pretender. Lamar Jackson, 1-3 in the playoffs. He has 5 interceptions, those 3 touchdowns, until he can prove to me that he can stay healthy and also come up in the big, play good in the big game. They're a pretender.
I say contender.
But you picked Josh Allen.
They've been to an AFC championship game like 3 years ago, 2 years ago.
That actually wasn't.
No.
Yeah, it was. In
was-
2021. They lost to the Chiefs. That was the go-to
It was
Tampa. It was the COVID year.
That was no. They beat the. That wasn't the AFC title game.
Then they played them again.
2 years ago, the Bengals lost to the Rams in the Super Bowl.
Correct.
But the year prior,
was-
I don't think the Bills played. I don't think that was the AFC title game. I think that was the divisional round. I could be wrong on that. I might.
Oh, here it is. 2021 AFC Championship game.
That
Bills
was
24, Chiefs 38. It was played on January 4th or 24th, 2021.
Okay, so that wasn't the game. That wasn't the wild game.
That was the COVID
wasn't-
year.
Okay, so that wasn't the 13-second game.
No.
That was a divisional round game. My apologies.
That's okay, Anthony.
My
I don't
apologies.
like the way he
Marsh.
jumped all over him there.
You did, though. I felt it in my bones.
Probably should.
Ravens got a top 10 defense. I think Lamar Jackson actually has an offense coordinator now. I like the running game. I like Zay Flowers, the rookie. I don't care about adding Odell Beckham Jr. Everybody gets all hot and bothered by that. I don't care. Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers, the running game, Lamar being a beast. I think the Ravens are a legit Super Bowl contender this year. All right, we'll save the other ones maybe for tomorrow. We got Championship Sunday, contender or pretender, playoff appearance, contender or pretender. But again, the Cardinals do walk it off again against the Padres. A Tommy Edmond 2-run home run with 2 outs, by the way. 2 outs. Mason Wynn with 2 outs, hits a double, and then Tommy
It's a single
Edmond.
that he turns into a double.
Fair enough.
Should have seen him go, man.
And then Tommy Edmond touches seats with a home run. He walks it off for the second straight day for the Cardinals. We've got the Gauntlet next on 101 ESPN.
Are you in the market right now for a brand new or pre-owned vehicle? Please head over to Londoff Chevrolet. They've got you covered over there. Because with Londoff Chevrolet, it's more than just getting you the best price. Of course, that's what they want to do. And they also want to give you the most money for your trade-in. At Londoff Chevrolet, they guarantee you top dollar for your vehicle, no questions asked. That's a Londoff guarantee. And if you're looking for inventory, they've got you covered. They've got 2 locations now. The original location in Florissant, Missouri, as well as the new Londoff Autoplex out in St. Peters, Missouri. Both locations have a state-of-the-art service center, so they've got you taken care of there. And they always want to make sure that you are satisfied, that you become part of the Londoff family. And that's the way they treat you. That's the way they've treated me for over 20 years as part of the Londoff family. And I can tell you that they're going to take great care of you. So please take a moment, get to either location, walk in, tell them that Jamie Rivers sent you in. And if you can't get there in person, it's really easy. They got 2 great websites. Visit Londoff.com or LondoffAutoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Johnny Londoff Chevrolet.
Warriors, 4 categories, 1 challenger. Can you master the Gauntlet?
Brought to you by Master, your hometown source for business communications for more than 30 years. Visit masstour.com.
.403, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. It's a fast lane on 101 ESPN. Welcoming in Ed. Ed is our latest contestant here in the Gauntlet. What's up, Ed?
Not a lot going on.
Hey, you left us a great mic drop yesterday on the Cardinals, the pitching. Really not the Cardinals, just the pitching overall. That was fantastic, man. Good take.
Thank you. I leave a lot more, but at least you took the good one.
Well, good. Yeah, we appreciate you being a part of the show, man. So welcome into the Gauntlet. Would you like to take on Marsh, Jamie, or me today?
I would like to take on you, please, Anthony.
Because you know I've been bad?
I'm not good at hockey, is my reasoning.
So you think you're going to get me in hockey because the wheel hates me. And, yeah, no, good call. Ed, I think it's a brilliant move. Good luck, buddy.
Thank you.
All right, Anthony's going to make his way to the Cone of Silence. And as he makes his way there, we're going to have Ed tell our guy Marshy to spin the wheel.
Spin that wheel, Marsh.
All right, Ed, so you don't want hockey. What would be your preferred category?
Pretty deep in football right now, so I could take that.
Okay. Well, it's not football. It's not hockey. It's random. Yeah, I hear you, buddy. I hear you. All right, so Marshy's getting the questions here. While he's doing that, we'll go over the rules here. Each question is worth 2 points if you answer it correctly without the options. If you use the options, answer it correctly, it's worth 1 point. And of course, if you answer it wrong, well, you get 0 points. Ed, are you ready to rock?
I am ready.
Okay, buddy, here we go. Again, the category is random. Question number 1. When Charlotte re-entered the NBA in 2004, what was their team name for 10 seasons before they switched it back to the Hornets in 2014?
Bobcats, final answer.
Question number 2. Who was the last team St. Louis City SC faced before League's Cup play, defeating this team 3-0?
I'm going to need the options, please.
Options are Inter Miami CF, LAFC, or Columbus Crew.
Inter Miami, final answer.
All right, Ed, we're on to question 3 here. Question 3. How many times does the letter A appear in the numbers from 1 to 99 when spelled out?
So then. One. No, hold on. Can I take the options, please?
Yeah, you got it because you didn't say final answer. So here are the options: 0, 2, or 9.
0, final answer.
Question number 4. Oh my goodness. The copperhead is the most common poisonous snake in Missouri. The second most common poisonous snake is the cottonmouth, also known as which other common name?
Water moccasin, final answer.
I can't believe Grant went back to the well on this one.
I can.
Goodness.
He's a troll with these
My
questions.
Goodness. All right, Ed. Good job. We're going to get our guy Anthony in here. Well, he's coming in here. How do you feel about today's gauntlet, buddy?
I think he's going to need to pack a lunch.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I'm not going to disagree with that. All right, Anthony's back in here. He's plugging in his ears. And, all right, Anthony, are you ready?
Maybe.
In 1993,
Is this the real question?
who was the Blues' second pick?
In 1993.
In the 1993 NHL entry draft, who did the Blues take with their second pick?
Which round?
That's part of the question. It's their second pick.
Jamie Rivers, round 3.
All right, now for the real category.
Who was it?
It was Jamie Rivers.
Yeah.
Nice job, buddy.
That's why I asked you about the round, because you were third round, weren't you? There's your second pick, third round. All right.
That's why I did that.
All right.
Well done, Anthony.
Thank you.
What a
All
deep
right.
draft.
It seriously was very. Random is your category.
Okay. All right.
That's
good.
the real one.
Hey,
Random.
I wanted random today. I went to the cone of silence. I said, I looked at Ryder. I go, I want random.
I want a random today.
I want a random.
Attaboy. Okay, well, here's question 1.
Yeah, okay.
When Charlotte re-entered the NBA in 2004, what was their team name for 10 seasons before they switched it back to the Hornets in 2014?
That would be the Bobcats. Final answer.
Question number 2. Who was the last team St. Louis City SC faced before League's Cup play, defeating this team 3-0?
Okay, so I think they've played two matches since resuming play. Did they play? Oh, wow. Did they play Miami before what's his face got there? I'll take the options.
Options are Inter Miami CF, LAFC, or Columbus Crew.
It was Inter Miami. I should have not taken those options. Final answer, Inter Miami.
All right, Antoine, you're on to question 3. This one's easy. How many times does the letter A appear in the numbers from 1 to 99 when spelled out?
What? let's just take the options. Let's just narrow this down.
All right. Is it 0, 2, or 9?
I'm going to take a shot here and say it's 0, just because it's kind of remarkable. Like those are weird. That's kind of a weird question. So I'm going to go 0. Final answer.
Some would say it's a random question.
It's a random question. I'll take 0. Final answer. Total guess on that.
Question number 4.
That was a hell of a question.
So is this one.
Yes, it is.
The copperhead is the most common poisonous snake in Missouri. The second most common poisonous snake is the cottonmouth, also known as which other common name?
I don't know. Options, please.
Is it the water moccasin, the coral snake, or the grass snake?
There's no way it's the coral snake. Dunk would have talked about it when defending the coral reefs.
Mm-hmm.
What's the other options? Water moccasin and what?
Grass snake.
And we're talking about the copperhead?
We were talking about the cottonmouth.
Oh, the cottonmouth. I don't know why it would be referred to as a grass snake. So I'm, again, total guess here. I'm going to go with the water moccasin. Final answer. That was brutal.
Okay.
I really needed a bounce back there. That was a tough one. I wanted random. I don't know if I wanted those questions, though.
This was a good gauntlet.
Let's go over these. Today, we're going to go over them in order. Question 1. When Charlotte re-entered the NBA in 2004, what was their team name for 10 seasons before they switched back to the Hornets in 2014? Ed, you said Bobcats. Anthony, you also said Bobcats. The answer is...
the Bobcats.
It is. Neither of you needed the options.
Nice job, Ed.
So we're 2-2 after 1. Question number 2.
Is that the only 2 we got right?
Who was the last team St. Louis City SC faced before League's Cup play, defeating them 3-0? Ed, you went with Inter Miami. Anthony, you also went with Inter Miami. Answer is...
it is Inter Miami CF.
But Ed and Anthony both needed the options.
You snake. You water moccasin.
Well
or
played.
grass snake.
Yeah. Question 3. We're all tied up 3-3 after 2. Question 3. How many times does the letter A appear in the numbers from 1 to 99 when spelled out? Very common question. I was just looking at this the other day. Ed, you said 0.
Wow.
Anthony, you also said 0. Answer is...
it's 0.
But...
no.
Anthony and Ed both needed the options.
I was about to say. Nice job, Ed. We're rolling.
Final question.
Oh, boy.
The copperhead is the most common poisonous/venomous snake in Missouri. You have to do that for copyright. We have to do that now.
Good call.
Yeah. The second most common poisonous/venomous snake is the cottonmouth, also known by which other common name? Ed, you said water moccasin.
Wow.
Anthony, you also said water moccasin. See where we're headed here. The answer is...
it is water moccasin.
Nice.
But Ed didn't need the options. Ed!
You have chosen wisely.
I got them all right, and Ed skunks me. Nice job, Ed.
Hey, boy. Good job, man.
Oh, nice job, man. Well done. Congratulations. That wound up being great. Who knew? Nice job, Ed.
Thank you. Former Eagle Scout, so I knew the snake question.
Okay, there you go. Well done. Well played, my friend. Congratulations. You'll be back tomorrow to take on either Marsh or Jamie.
All right, thank you.
All right. Nice job.
Take care, Ed.
You too.
That was unbelievable. The way that set up, I was like, this is unreal.
And he even got me a couple of times with a but.
That's my job. Anthony, we build it up, you know?
No, you did a great job.
Guys, we got a text
So
from the
did Ed.
314. It appears that the text line they just didn't learn anything from last week. From the 314, hate to be that person, but it's venomous, not poisonous for snakes.
That's got to be.
That's
hold on.
a troll.
I only know because the know-it-all at my work corrected me just today.
Oh, boy.
Text or troll?
I think it's a text.
I think it's both. I think it's a text, but then they're also trolling because they knew the answer. I don't know.
Jamie, you're coaching. I didn't listen to it today.
Here we go. 573, no such thing as a poisonous snake. They are venomous. Sorry for being an a-hole.
I did the /venomous.
You did.
I did. This
Yeah.
time I caught the mistake. This time I corrected it.
Okay. All right, we got to get to Jeremy Rutherford. He's going to join us. We'll talk a little Blues hockey. Maybe we'll ask him about that article that appeared in his website, The Athletic, about the Blues and the front office rankings.
I bet JR loves defending Dom.
Poor guy. JR next on 101 ESPN.
Are you looking to upgrade, remodel, redo your kitchen or your bathroom? Please head down to E&B Granite and talk to my friends there. They've been in the business for a long time, and they've been servicing the St. Louis area for over 20 years now. The customer satisfaction, they believe in 100% customer satisfaction. They guarantee it, quite honestly. And they got a great location, located at 6135 Manchester Avenue. Just walk in, and if you have an idea what you're trying to do, great. The sales representatives they are going to help you, walk you through everything. But maybe you don't have an idea, or you're looking for options. That's where they shine. The sales representatives do a great job of showing you exactly what you would like, what you'd need, and then presenting the options. Like if it's for countertops, they've got granite, they've got quartz, they've got marble, even soapstone, and you can take a look at the slab in the back. You don't have to look at a little sample size. You can take a look at it, ask questions, and then the process is really easy. They get in there, they measure it out, they rip out all the old stuff, put in the brand new stuff, and boy, is it going to look good. So please stop by in person or give them a call. Tell them Jamie Rivers sent you. That number is 314-645-9300. Again, that's 314-645-9300, or visit them at enbgranite.com.
time for the Rutherford Report on 101 ESPN.
Anything you folks want to know about the fascinating world of pro hockey, here we go.
It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Jamie Rivers, Anthony Stalter, and our guy Jeremy Rutherford joins us via our 101 ESPN celebrity line. And JR, I know that you talked to Colton Parayko for a story that is going to come out tomorrow in The Athletic. What is kind of the crux of the piece?
Yeah, guys, I had a chance to sit down with him last week at Centene. He now lives in St. Louis, probably Rivers. Jamie, you're familiar with that. He's been out there skating a lot with the guys, Braden Shen, a bunch of them, and some more trickling into town. But in talking to Colton Parayko, Anthony, he's really looking forward to this season. And the one thing that he said was last year was a tough year for him. Obviously, he admits that. But he feels like of his 8-year career, that's been the one outlier. And if you look at the stats, kind of that goal share number has been falling the past couple of years. He missed some games with that back injury a couple of years ago. He feels that he's past that. But to me, he really seemed like a guy who was excited to get going this year and kind of show fans that he's not the player that he was last year.
JR, is there anything in particular that he has been focusing on in the offseason, whether it be in the video room or the weight room or on the ice? Anything that he identified from maybe last year that he's like, you know what, I can improve this?
Yeah, for sure. The number one thing that he saw is that he was thinking too much and just hesitating. And he said when he reflected on that after the season, watched the video, he said that there was too much hesitation. And I know the Blues made some tweaks to their defensive system last year, but Colton said not enough that it would make that much of a difference. Again, he said the back wasn't an issue. He said he just wasn't making plays. He wasn't getting to pucks that he needed to get to, and he didn't have that total awareness that you have to have back in that defensive zone. So, as he looks at this season, he said that he's really kind of tried to train himself to not think so much, just to go out there and play on his instincts.
Yeah, that's the one thing I've noticed at some of the skates already in the offseason, that he seems like he's enjoying it a little bit more. And I would agree with you watching a lot of the games last year, whether it was by design because the system was holding him back or whether there was just too many gaps because there weren't forwards in place. It always just seemed like a little bit of hesitation on the defensive side, and on the offensive side, it's like he was hanging on the puck just a little bit too long before moving it. So I don't know if he addressed any of that stuff, but that's what I noticed.
Yeah, just that lack of awareness. And I think when we looked at that Blues defense last year, yeah, Parayko was in the middle of that in terms of what is going on back there. But I think we saw that from several of the Blues defensemen. They just weren't in lockstep, and, with the forwards as well. But I think, in talking to Colton, that's one thing that he's really focused on. So, we're at that point on the calendar where we can talk about it, but until we see it in the preseason and then, of course, into the regular season, that's when we'll be able to see if there's any change that's been really made.
Jeremy Rutherford, our Blues insider with The Athletic, who you can follow on Twitter at JP Rutherford. Jared, why do you think that, in your opinion, why do you think that that same group of guys that were here, Nick Leddy was acquired at the trade deadline, so it's not like they were unfamiliar with him. Falk, Leddy, Parayko, Krug. Why do you think they had so many issues last year compared to the year prior?
Yeah, especially that year prior in the postseason, pretty good against Minnesota, especially later in that playoff, and then also against Colorado. When you saw Nick Leddy play the way he did against some of those guys like McKinnon in the Colorado series, it really bode well. You saw it after he signed that contract. So it's a situation where you scratch your head at the way the defense played last year. The one thing that you can say if you're Craig Berube or Doug Armstrong is that none of them played well, and you hope that it's just connected and that it was just an off year for a few guys. But, you try to point to reasons as to why. It can't be that they're a year older than the previous year. You're talking about 4 guys who can still get the job done. So I think you have to wonder, are they legitimate top 4 guys? You talk about Colton Parayko. Is he a true number one? The answer is probably no. Is Nick Leddy a top pair guy? Probably not. Torrey Krug, is he a second pair guy, especially with the way he played banged up last year? Probably not. And I think at times Justin Falk wasn't the Justin Falk that we remembered from the past couple of years. So, again, if you're Doug Armstrong, you just chalk it up and hope that it's a bad year. But the one thing I'll stick to, guys, is he said that, I'll tell you what, if they have a year this coming season like they did last year, that same group's not going to be back regardless of how hard it is to move these guys.
JR, your buddy Dom always does great work over there at The Athletic. I know a lot of Blues fans just love reading his work. We were talking about this earlier. He's got a piece out now at The Athletic where he ranks the front office and whatnot for the St. Louis Blues as well as every team in the NHL. He has the Blues at 21. I disagreed, not big time this time. Like Dom and I weren't north and south on this, but I disagreed at 21. I pictured them somewhere, in the 12 to 15 range. But just from your standpoint, when you look at Dom's ranking, what do you think of the Blues being at 21? And, if there's something that Army could have done differently within the last 6 to 7 months, what do you think it could be?
Yeah, what's funny is every time I go to put a story out and I say, hey, Blues fans, here's a story from Dom. Go ahead and read it. Sometimes it's a tough sell. But, having said that, he called it last year. He felt there was going to be a big drop-off in their overall points, and there was. So, I give him a lot of credit, and especially give him some credit when he has to battle the Blues fans, because I know how it's been over the years. But, with this front office ranking thing, guys, it really is a ranking of the fans, and I like the way he does it. He divides it into two parts. So he lets the general NHL public, talking about the fans, vote on where they rank the Blues in these categories: roster building, cap management, draft and development, trading, free agency, vision. And he also lets the fan base here in St. Louis vote on it, and then he publishes both results. And, they were fairly similar this year. Sometimes they're not. This year they were. Roster building, for example, I'm looking at it here on my screen. NHL general fans gave the Blues a C-. The fan base here in St. Louis, a C. Cap management, a D+. I think that stems from giving these long-term contracts out to so many guys, and also the no-trade clauses. It's been tough to move money because of that. And then here, the draft and development. You got a lot of good young players coming in via the draft, and the fans here in St. Louis gave Doug Armstrong a B. Trading, just one more category here. Blues fans here gave Doug Armstrong a B+. So, I think some of the marks are fairly high considering where the Blues are positioned now in this retool. But, of course, anytime you have the byline Dom on the top of this story, it's definitely going to catch some static.
You're absolutely right. Follow JR on Twitter at JP Rutherford. He's got a piece coming out tomorrow on Colton Parayko. Looking forward to that. Appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for stopping by here in the Fast Lane. We'll talk to you again next week.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, Colton Parayko talks about the fan perception of him, too. So some interesting comments coming up in the Athletic tomorrow. Thanks, guys.
Interesting. Thanks, JR. Appreciate you. Wow, that could be interesting.
Yeah,
for sure.
Anxious to hear what he thinks.
Yeah, because he can be he's a great guy.
Oh, he's
awesome.
Guy.
He's for whatever reason, he's a lightning rod with the fans.
Because he is such a great guy. The people here associate 6'6" with Chris Pronger.
Yeah, true.
If you're not Chris Pronger, you don't deserve to be here.
Yeah, very true. What are you laughing about, Marsh? You all right?
I don't know.
Look at this guy. What do you got, Marsh?
Text message from Thanks Dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, look.
I don't know. I thought it was funny. Oh, and now my computer's broke.
Get HR in here.
My goodness.
I'll fix it.
Marsh
I got it.
Losing it. I'll tell you who didn't lose today, though. Your St. Louis Cardinals.
Quality start by Miles Michaelis.
We'll talk about it next on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cards get their second walk-off victory in as many days, a 5-4 victory over the San Diego Padres thanks to Tommy Edman. He does it 2 days in a row. We're going to break down that game coming up next right here in the Fast Lane. We just talked with Jeremy Rutherford of The Athletic. If you missed that interview, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the 101 mobile app. You can find all of our interviews and the full show there. It's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Once again, a 5-4 victory for the Cards over the Padres. We're going to talk about it next right here in the Fast Lane. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at Londoff.com and LondoffAutoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Driven to right. Well hit. Tatis back. It is gone. It is gone. The Cardinals have won it.
Chip Carey, Bally Sports Midwest on the call. Cardinals 5-4 winners today over the Padres. It started off rough. It looked rough for most of it, but Mason Wynn doubles in the bottom of the ninth inning when the Cardinals were trailing 4-3 with 2 outs. They're down their last out. Mason Wynn, as Jamie put it, turned a single into a double with his speed. And then Tommy Edman, the next AB, he goes deep. Second walk-off for Edman, second walk-off for the Cardinals. And Jamie, you had noted this before, and I agree with you. It's been a terrible season.
Yep.
Nothing changing that. You want to see a little life, though. We got the game on in the studio. Maybe you're watching at home. Maybe you're, kind of listening to us and also checking out the game a little bit. If you're going to watch the games, give us something here. And Mason Wynn with an exciting moment the ninth. Tommy Edman, 2 exciting moments the last 2 nights. Wilson Contreras put on a show last night in front of his parents and the home crowd. A couple of ding-dong Johnsons. Finally, a little excitement. And granted, it's August 30th, but, hey, still, it's good to see, Jamie. It's good to see.
I don't believe you right now.
What? I'm excited. I'm Tim Tebow over here. All right? All right, I'm excited.
So, a little tidbit on this one is Mason Wynn with that base hit in the bottom of the ninth. He didn't do it with his bat.
Whose bat did he use? Wilson Contreras's?
No.
Adam Wainwright's?
No.
Paul Goldschmidt's?
No, Jordan Walker had 4 hits today.
I would get there.
He had 4 hits today. So Mason Wynn said with 2 outs in the ninth inning, he said, I've been struggling a little bit. I saw him get 4 knocks. I just walked up and said, hey, man, mine's not working. Let me see yours. Yep. That's what he said, just like that. Mine's not working. Let me see yours. And sure enough, it worked.
Guess who's going to be using Jordan Walker's bats for a little while?
We'll see about that. But it's just amazing to see. That's part of the excitement. Young guy like Mason Wynn, the unpredictability of these guys. So Jordan Walker gets 4 hits today, and Mason Wynn gets a base hit, and he turns it into a double. He wasn't even thinking about pumping the brakes at all. And he's got such good speed. He got in there, and at that point, being in scoring position, the home run was great. Tommy Edman hitting a walk-off, I mean, that's the end of all ends, right? Mm-hmm. But he was in scoring position. So even a single at that point could have scored Mason Wynn to tie the game. What I loved about that is he get up there in a very pressure cooker situation for a young player. He hasn't been knocking the ball all over the field here at the major league level. He gets a timely hit, turns it into a double, puts himself in scoring position so that he gives his team a chance to win. So that was exciting for me. And to go back to your point, it is time. You have to find something to put a bow on this season because it's not going to be wins and losses. It's not going to be that. It's going to be moments. What do you remember from that season? Well, they sucked. Okay, but what moments do you remember? Well, I remember, Contreras two home runs, or Wayno's performance here or Mason Wynn, his first game. Like, this is where we're at now.
Yeah.
It's where we're at. It's just reality. We're cherry picking moments to celebrate the season, celebrate loose use of the word, to remember the season. And I don't mind it. I'm so tired of kicking this can down the road of like, this sucks, this stinks, they're no good at this, I'm tired of this guy. We have to talk about it. We have to break it down. I totally understand the assignment when it comes to that. But it's also never a bad thing for everybody's mental health, if you're a Cardinals fan, to cherry pick some fun moments from what's going on here and try to build off that.
Yeah, for sure. Miles Michaelis, by the way, started off the game. How would you describe Jamie? A little rough?
Terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was at 50 pitches in the second inning.
He was. That's not an exaggeration.
I know.
He was literally, he wasn't even through the second inning, and he was at 50 pitches. He gave up 1 run in the first, 2 in the second, and then he settled in. We were kind of joking about it in the office before the show. We were kind of being facetious, like, when at one point I think you said, well, if he gives up a home run here, you may go get him. And then you pause and you're like, actually, and then you and I said at the same time, no, you make him wear it.
Wear this thing.
He's been struggling. There's no reason for him not to throw 100 or so pitches. That's exactly, he threw 98, wound up getting 6 innings out of that.
It's incredible.
Allowed 7 hits, 3 runs, all earned, walked 2, struck out 2.
Mm-hmm.
But he battled. Give him credit.
He totally battled.
Because he had nothing. I mean, the Padres were sitting on every breaking ball and just hammering it. They were fouling pitches off. Anytime Miles Michaelis threw a breaking ball, they were swinging. And a couple of times he got into some trouble, got him to pop out. That's kind of Miles Michaelis' game. Soft contact. And our guy BK, do you still have the tweet up?
Oh, yeah, we haven't read that yet?
No. So this is pretty interesting.
Yeah, it actually is kind of, it's so puzzling. But BK writes out here, as I find it, says, strange but true. Miles Michaelis now has as many quality starts this season as Charlie Morton, Jose Barrios, Sandy Alcantara, Shane McClanahan, and Shohei Ohtani.
Wow. He
has more such starts than Verlander, Evaldi, Cobb, Musgrove, or Rodriguez. What?
It's a microcosm of a season.
It
right?
is. Today's game by Miles Michaelis was a microcosm of the Cardinals' season.
And his
too.
Specifically.
All of it.
Bad in the first, even worse in the second, settled in the third, great for in the fourth. That's been Miles Michaelis this year. Terrible in April, outstanding in May. Not good in June, great in July. He just has been inconsistent all season long. And, unfortunately for a Cardinals team that has been well out of it, you don't want to see that when they're contending. But at the very least, it's just kind of been a weird year. You can just account of, just kind of, this is how it's been. Okay. All right. Move forward. Everybody move forward next year. And they got the front office has a lot of work to do in the offseason. But regardless, a couple of wins for the home crowd. Nice to see. We got our Sports Six-Pack coming up. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. So you get a question for Jamie or I. Send it in. We'll do it next in the Fast Lane.
time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. And I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is refreshed by Maggie O'Brien's, your go-to Irish pub in St. Louis for over 42 years.
Congratulations to Alex from the Hillside.
Oh, Ferrario.
No, not Alex Ferrario. No, happy belated birthday to Alex, by the way.
I know, I saw
His birthday was yesterday. I felt terrible, just terrible that I didn't say anything yesterday about it.
Yeah, but here, in fairness to us, Anthony, there are a lot of people that work here, and it's difficult to keep track of whose birthday's when.
Mm-hmm.
This is where Facebook is a wonderful tool because you just pop on there and it's like, hey, I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Couple things I usually do is I usually give the old Facebook happy birthday, and then text message it.
Yeah, that's always nice.
Thanks for the heads up.
What's
Facebook?
What's fun about the trio here in the Fast Lane is that every single one of us March birthdays.
Makes it easier.
It makes it easier.
Yeah. When's your birthday again?
30th.
Marshy?
The 19th.
Ooh, I'm the 16th. So Marshy and I are right in.
We're right in the middle of St. Patty's Day.
Yeah.
So it's like an extended birthday.
So I always used to say that I was pitching both ends of a doubleheader. We'd do 16th, and then that would just roll into the 17th. You get your 2 for 1 right there. Happy birthday. All that stuff.
They don't make them like they used to.
No. Anyways, happy birthday, Alex. Oh, yeah, Alex won the the trivia question. Won the trivia question to win the Cardinals games. The trivia question today was Mike Matheny's daughter.
Yes.
Is a hockey player.
She was a great
She was a hockey player.
Yes.
Where did she play? What college did she play?
I don't know.
Correct answer is
the Ohio State University.
That's correct.
Yes. She was a great player. Really great player. Now she's got her family, young family going. Really great family. I have to say that Mike and his family are awesome.
So we'll have more tickets to give away Thursday and Friday here in the Fast Lane. Sports Six-Pack time.
Question number 1.
From the 636, did you guys snag an Under Armour sponsorship?
Yeah. Well, we're hoping, actually.
How did this happen? I didn't notice that you two were wearing virtually the same exact shirt, different color, until this texter texted in.
So, Andrew, what happens is, I'm sure you're aware of this, there's a really big company called Under Armour.
Yeah.
And they make a great athletic wear.
For sure.
T-shirts being one of their items for sale. They're very comfortable. You can either just go to work like this, or you can wear them to the gym, you can go jogging, all sorts of great things. And some would say that great clothing is purchased by great people who think alike. And so Anthony and I, without even talking to each other, said, you know what? I like this Under Armour.
Yeah.
And we're like, right there.
Today's an Under Armour day.
It is.
I'm not wearing Under Armour.
You're not wearing any what?
I'm wearing Adidas.
Oh,
boy.
Well, remember the great minds.
Yeah. I actually saw on the camera the first segment, I go, oh, boy, we're a walking billboard today for Under Armour.
I hope so. I mean, listen, I don't have...
great sponsorship opportunity still available.
It is. Under Armour, if you're listening, or Dwayne The Rock Johnson, I know you tune in. If you want the Project Rock being represented, I wear that too. More than happy. I don't even need to be paid. Just give me the clothing.
Yeah, I'm in.
That used to be my deal with Nike when they came into hockey. When they jumped into hockey, they were grabbing up young guys and whatnot. And they pay a little bit of money to use all their stuff, but they'd give you a catalog and say, anything you want out of the catalog, just let us know. It was like Christmas. I think that's where my Amazon habit began. So I'd go through the catalog and I'd be like, boop, 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 boop. Now some UPS, FedEx. That's all awesome. The Rivers family were wearing like Nike golf shirts, shorts, shoes, golf clubs. They made golf clubs at one point. I got my dad a set of Nike golf clubs.
Nice.
It was like, I can't believe this. I'm like, tell me when I'm not allowed anymore. No, you're fine. Just keep going.
Wow.
So I had a whole closet full of Nike stuff. So every time there was a birthday, somebody got something from Nike.
That's awesome.
Anthony, you're good at hockey trivia. Who is most notably known for wearing a Nike helmet? Anthony, you're the only one that can answer this.
Roberto Luongo at one point wore a Nike helmet.
Yeah. No, he didn't.
He's a goaltender.
He's a goaltender. Marshy,
he doesn't wear a helmet?
Can I play this game with you?
You can play the game.
Yes,
Did this individual also wear white skates?
David Perron is the answer.
Nope.
No. Actually, I don't know.
Because, I mean, like, I wore a Nike helmet, too, but notably. This guy, notably.
Like, when I think of this player, I think of him wearing a Nike helmet.
Yeah.
Paul Correa.
He's a big, tall guy, right-handed shot.
Chris Pronger.
No, he's shot left.
Left-hander.
He's a bigger dude.
So here's what I gave you. Sergei Fedorov, who was the initial Nike guy. He's the guy that came flying out with the white skates on.
That's a good. That's not who I'm thinking.
They were sick. And the other guy that wore a Nike helmet that was out of character, and it was kind of a funky-looking helmet, but this guy could do anything he wanted because he was Mario Lemieux.
Yep, that's who I'm thinking of.
There you go. Yeah, Mario's like 6'5", bro.
Yeah.
He's a pretty big dude.
He's a tall guy.
Yeah. Really hard to get the puck off of, Anthony.
I picture him with the black Nike helmet and that weird-looking dark Penguins jersey that they used to have. It was like gray and black and
like the triangle on it.
Yes.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Interesting jersey to say the least.
You're welcome.
Question number 2.
Fun facts.
We're talking about hockey from the 618. Question for Jamie. What's the worst hockey hit you took in your career? What I mean is, it's not always the hard hits that get you. I hit a guy semi-hard, knee to knee once, and I thought I was going to die. LOL.
Well, I got rocked a few times in my career, but nothing like notable where I was like hurt or laid out. Because quite honestly, I'd rather die than lay on the ice and give the guy the satisfaction. Even if I was.
And you did.
Correct, Anthony, correct. The worst hit I ever sustained was self-inflicted. I'll never forget it. It was in Madison Square Garden. Alexei Kovalev. What, Sergei? What the hell?
Well, you think Sergei Fedorov.
No, it's not. Kovalev was playing for the Rangers at the time. And he came around behind the net from like Al McInnes's side. He like flushed him behind the net. And I was waiting there like a dog with rabies. Because he's like, his head was tucked behind him. I'm like, I am going to murder this guy. And this was before they moved the net away from the end boards and the goal line out. It was back. So there was like 2 feet of ice back there. You've got nowhere to hide. And I took a couple of hard strides and I like lunge forward, but you don't think, right, that he's going to duck, which is a chicken blank move to do.
Chicken salad.
Yeah, chicken salad, correct. But he ducked and like dropped down to his knees. So one, it like hyperextended my front knee by doing that, and then I smashed my face off the glass because it carried me forward. And I cut my nose open and I was so mad.
What a Diamondback.
I couldn't do anything that shift because my knee was so damn sore I could barely skate and I was bleeding all over the place. After that, I chased him around MSG for 2 periods straight. I must have slashed him 73 times. Speared him 12. Elbowed him 7. I was so mad. I don't know if I was mad because it hurt or I just like looked like such an asshat.
Did he apologize?
Sure. No, he didn't.
Jamie thinks, I got this guy lined up and I'm going to take his soul. Next thing you know, he's got a bad knee and a busted face.
And I'm spitting out plexiglass.
That's a tough day at the office.
It was tough.
That reminds me of D3 Mighty Ducks when...
No doubt. Yeah, when he went through the glass.
He goes through the glass.
Yeah. By the way, when he flips through the glass, okay, okay. Fine. We take a little movie magic in this.
For sure.
Plexiglass breaks that way. But he went feet first. You're telling me he doesn't stab somebody in the first row there?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know the physics on that.
Somebody's dying.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to skate through their face.
Highly frowned upon. Yeah. I agree with you, Anthony.
Are you kidding me? You can't go feet first into the stands and everybody's like, oh, you're okay. Here, let me help you. No, you got the skate right here. Like, here's your skate.
Those skates are sharp.
Yeah. They got to glide on ice.
Yeah.
Yeah, they also fix that thing pretty quickly, too.
Good arena staff. Hard to find, which, by the way, staff at
Well,
the
we are talking about Seton Hall.
No, it's Eden Hall.
What?
They called it Seton Hall last week. I meant to say Eden Hall. You missed out on a complete...
What? Seton Hall?
D3.
Yeah,
D3.
I know what you're talking
Eden
about.
Hall. For some reason, in the heat of the conversation, I called it Seton Hall, thinking of the Pirates, the collegiate... The college.
I know what you're thinking. You call yourself a fan.
Seton Hall.
Well, we fixed it.
Yeah.
I did know that Julie the Cat Gaffney was from Bangor, Maine, not Kennebunkport. Mm-hmm. So, there's some things that you're good at and some things you're not.
Yeah.
Someone asked a question, does Jamie remember hitting Mike Greer or Anson Carter into the end boards a game against Edmonton? I do remember that. Mike Greer is who it was, and he was a big, solid dude. He's a guy like you had to know when he's on the ice because he could end your night in a hurry with a hit. Now, he wasn't a fighter, but he could hit like a freight train. And I remember he was coming down the right wing on me, and me being a left-handed defenseman, he was coming in hot, too. So I was like, to get my timing, I kind of just put my stick like right in his hip flexor, just slow him down a little bit. And then he tried to still get by me, and I threw a body check that drove his head and his shoulder into the end boards. Ooh. And it broke his shoulder, actually. So he laid down there and got up and was like slow all the way to the bench. And I remember Grant Fuhr was on the bench that night and came back to the bench. He goes, I can't believe you just did that to that guy. I'm like, why? I'm not afraid of him. He goes, no, I didn't think you were afraid. He goes, nobody has hit him like that. But it was the subtle change of pace, and that's a trick that like Al McInnes used to use all the time. This guy coming down to 100 miles an hour, you just reach out with your stick blade, just put it in his hip flexor. It just slows him down. He can't skate. So it's not a penalty. What do you call it? Penalty? Putting your stick on a guy's hip flexor? Mm-hmm. So I did the same thing, just slowed him down, but he still felt like he had momentum, but he didn't. And so then I came like with this like side body block, and drove him into the boards. Felt bad. Like 2 years later.
Did he come after you?
Did he hack you 73 times?
No,
he slashed you 12?
No, he never came after me.
Right.
No.
So you didn't have rage issues?
No.
He was composed?
No, but, and I never said I was sorry, because I really wasn't.
Yeah. Well, that's good, though.
I mean, I'm glad he wasn't seriously injured. Now he's the general manager for the San Jose Sharks, so I think he's doing okay.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you're on the fast lane.
Yeah. And oddly enough, he was drafted by the Blues, so I had already met this guy and all this stuff. I was like, man, that's a really nice guy.
Yeah.
That jerk I am.
We got two questions.
We did really
in
good.
12 and a half minutes.
Well, we got some story time in there, Anthony. It's always fun to reminisce.
It's all good.
If you don't like my stories, just tell me. That's fine.
I love your stories. It's just we promise.
Text line. Tell Anthony what you think of that.
Okay, they already do. Let's not. They already do. Let's continue. We promised the people 6.
Yeah, let's go. You better give them 6. If you're going to promise them 6, Anthony.
Let's not give them 2.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a major disappointment to give them. You're expecting 6, you get 2?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
And if we go 7 or 8, it's even better, but we'll definitely get 6.
We're definitely going 5 at least.
At least. Next, in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN.
Fellas, listen up. You're probably right now paying way too much for your ED meds. Stop doing that. Stop. Head into the medicine shop in St. Charles. They are your destination for cheap ED meds. As I've said before, they have a generic called Sildenafil for less than $2 a pill. I've seen this advertised other places. It is not $2 a pill unless you're going to the medicine shop in St. Charles. Prescription is required. And we always talk about busy schedules. Go, 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 go. I've got a crazy hockey season coming up. And this is why I use the medicine shop's free, discreet shipping and delivery of any medicine that I require to my home or my workplace. It's a fantastic service that anybody should take advantage of, especially if you're running around like crazy with lots of things to do. But if you do have to get into the pharmacy, it's a great pharmacy. Go in. They have a full pharmacy. Tell them that Jamie Rivers sent you. They're going to take care of everything that you need, answer all your questions. They're going to make sure that you leave there happy and satisfied. So please get there, visit them in person. If not, visit them online at stcharles.pharmacy. That's stcharles.pharmacy.
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is refreshed by Maggie O'Brien's, your go-to Irish pub in St. Louis for over 42 years.
All right, we got through 2 questions in the Sports Six-Pack last segment, so why don't we go ahead and finish up the rest of the six-pack here with question number 3, please.
Question number 3.
From the 314, how would you feel if we started seeing retractable roofs in the NHL?
Interesting.
I don't know if
I don't know how that would
do that.
Because the ice has to be at a certain temperature. I mean, anywhere north you could do it, but then it's going to be freezing cold inside that building. Tough one. So
it's a no for me.
The best I can tell you for as far as like comparable is when I played in Switzerland. We had this little arena, and it was had a roof over it, everything, but the end zones, like right under the roof, that the little area underneath was open air. So like morning skate, like practice was awesome. You come out there and you could look in the distance through the thing and see like the Swiss Alps, the beautiful snowy mountains and trees. You're like, this is awesome. Come 8 o'clock at night when puck drop's going and the wind is whistling through that sucker, not so great. Not so great. So I don't know, like in the southern states and things like that, it would affect the ice as far as like making it really soft. And some of those buildings already have that problem where the ice gets real mushy on them. I think that would be problematic. And up north, you'd be running into the opposite problem where it'd be freezing freaking cold. And you'd be like, I ain't going to the game. I'll watch it on TV.
Yeah.
Like for a winter classic or a stadium series or whatever, the one-offs, you know it's unique. You're prepared for it. You've got the jacket, the scarf, the hat, whatever, and you're like, yes, this is it.
Yeah.
If you had to do 41 of those games as a season ticket holder, I don't know how much you'd like it.
Nah.
So I'd have to pass on that.
Yeah.
Question number 4.
If Georgia three-peats, or do they rank in college football dynasties?
Ooh, Anthony.
They would be among the best. I mean, Kirby Smart, I don't know if there's been a college football coach that has won back-to-back national championships as a head coach and as an assistant, because he did so under Nick Saban at Alabama, too. So at the very least, you're talking about Kirby Smart being in the same picture as some of the best to ever do it, including Nick Saban. But if they three-peat, man, I'm trying to think some of the. I don't think you have to win consecutive championships, but within a five-year window or so, I think that could be considered a dynasty, right? And especially if you have a lot of the same, certainly the same coaches, maybe some of the same players, some carryover. So if you were to do it 3 straight times, that would rank among one of the best in college football. I don't know off the top of my head where some of the other dynasties would rank, but I would have that dynasty over Florida. The recent Florida one, the one that the team that they did the documentary on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that team could have had 3. 2006.
Yeah, they won
2008.
06, 8,
2009.
And Tim Tebow laments the time that they didn't get it done at 09. That was a pretty good dynasty, but they only won 2. So Georgia would supplant them in a heartbeat, but I'd have to go back through. But it would be impressive. Kirby Smart's done just a remarkable job, especially because, like, Stetson Bennett, we're not talking about somebody that everybody's like, oh, man, they've got the quarterback. No, they had an incredible defense, incredible running game. Brock Bowers, the tight end, might win a Heisman this year. That's how good he is. And then Bennett he played well, but kind of came out of nowhere for fans. So, anyways, go ahead.
Question number 5.
From the 314, what is one thing your father taught you that may not be an obvious teaching moment? For instance, mine taught me to always get meatloaf at a steakhouse if they have it on the menu.
Really? Because it's got to be good, huh? That's interesting.
My dad told me to punch the guy in the face first. At least you hit him once.
Not great legal advice, but I like it anyways. At least you threw out punch.
He said, never mind, waiting for the first punch. He said, throw the first punch. At least you hit him once.
Yeah.
Because he goes, you never know. You might lose that one, but at least you got it once.
I like that.
So I don't know if that's really good. Kids, if you're listening, I wouldn't use that as advice. Our legal team currently scrambling here at 101 ESPN.
Trying to figure that out.
We got Jamie punching people.
No, I didn't do that. I didn't say I did it.
Doing other stuff too.
Just said that.
I don't know if this certainly isn't like necessarily unique advice, but I just remember my dad. I was ticked off at somebody when I was younger, and he shared the never burn bridges conversation with me.
Mm-hmm.
Never burn a bridge. Never know when you have to go back over it again. And that one has always kind of stuck with me. I don't think I've ever used it the way he intended. I think I've always burned the bridge. My mom's the Italian one, so I get the Italian rage from her. But I've always remembered that conversation. That's the meatloaf one's interesting, though.
That is interesting. I was always told from my dad, if you can't grow facial hair, don't.
That's good advice.
So
don't have like the catfish whiskers.
Yes,
basically.
Don't have the bad beard or the bad mustache.
That's good advice.
If you can't grow one.
Question number 6.
From the 636, the Angels just released 4 pitchers. Are any of them worth the Cardinals looking at?
Yes, Lucas Giolito. Jamie, Lucas Giolito.
I'd take him or Clevenger.
Mm-hmm.
I would. To finish up the season, see what you got for maybe next year for the bottom half of your rotation.
Yep.
Now, Giolito profiles as a mid-rotation guy. I would for sure.
Yeah. I mean, why not? Why not put a waiver claim on him?
Totally agree.
Get him in here. Get him to the free zoo. That's still free at this point because none of you guys want the Cardinals to go to the playoffs.
This team, though, I'm considering it.
Right?
2 wins in a row.
2 wins in a row. 2 exciting wins in a row.
2 exciting wins in a row. I'm sure I'll get a text message tonight.
A gutsy start by Miles McCollus today. Miles McCollus getting it done. Tommy Edman, a couple of back-to-back walk-offs. Wilson Contreras just touching seats left and right. Marsh, you're in. You're in on this team. Mason Wynn turning 100%. Singles into doubles.
Yeah, I think I'm committed to this team the rest of the year.
Nolan Arenado doing his thing at third base. A couple of fine plays today.
Let's see how far back they are in the standings.
Yeah, just check the latest standings after today's win, and then tell me you're not excited about the direction of this team this year. Yeah. Where are we at, Marsh?
Not excited.
How many games back in the NL Central?
Hey, they're 12, 12 out of the wild card.
12 out of the wild card.
12 out of the wild card.
Boy, that's tough.
Hey, there's a lot of games left.
That's
a full month of baseball.
What's Clevenger's first name?
Mike Clevenger.
Apparently there's some issues with Mike Clevenger.
Well, that dates back to the COVID stuff. He and one of the other pitchers for Cleveland, might have been Bauer, in fact, decided to stay out one night after a game and then took the plane ride home at one point and got the COVID thing. Actually, you know what? There may have been
I think there was something else.
There might have been a domestic violence thing, too.
I'm trying to find something here.
He may have been suspended for that early in the season, in fact, now that I think of it. There might be a couple of things.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that when it came out.
No, there is a woman that claimed that he strangled her.
Yes.
But I don't know what the outcome.
So that was in January 24th of 2023. Clevenger was placed under investigation by Major League Baseball for alleged domestic violence and child abuse against his 10-month-old daughter and his mother. I remember reading about this. He claimed that none of it happened. He said, she said,
Well, he's
not
still
excusing
playing
anything.
baseball, so I don't know.
I don't know if he got suspended for it, but Yeah, there is. To the texter's point, there is some off-field stuff.
I'll pass. I don't need them that bad. I don't care. I don't want that. If that is something, I don't want that in my clubhouse.
There you go.
All right. Pass.
Especially with this team who's finding their identity right now.
Well said, Marsh. What's trending is next on 101 ESPN.
Anthony, we're just about a week away from the NFL season starting.
Week tomorrow, Jamie.
A week tomorrow. Well
You're excited, kid.
I am excited.
You should be.
You know what I'm really excited about?
Kansas City, Detroit.
No, FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Why am I excited? Because new customers can get
fired?
I'm that excited. Okay,
Holy
I'm
smokes.
that excited that I'm messing this up. But new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets, and that's guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV.
That's right, Jamie. Perfect pairing, right? FanDuel, betting the games, watching the games. NFL Sunday Ticket. Now is the best time to join FanDuel. The app is easy to use. You can bet on everything. Player props, live betting, point spreads, totals, much more, all at FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com/fast. Again, FanDuel.com/fast. And kick off the NFL season with an offer that you won't want to miss. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL.
21 and older, present in Illinois. First line, real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions do apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
NFL Sunday Ticket offer ends 9/18/23. No refunds. Terms and embargoes apply. $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket, not YouTube TV. YouTube TV base plan required to watch YouTube TV. Redemption requires a Google account and current form of payment. Commercial use excluded. Subscription renews. Cancel anytime.
What's trending in the world of sports? The Fast Lane has you covered. What's trending now?
Brought to you by Goodwill. Donate to Goodwill and get a half-price Cardinals ticket voucher.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN. Anthony Stalter, Jamie Rivers, I'm Andrew Marsh, and it's time for What's Trending. Fellas, what's trending are your St. Louis Cardinals, who have won 2 games in a row, and both of them have been walk-offs, and both of those walk-offs have come from Tommy Edman.
You wanted to trade him.
Unbelievable.
I still do for pitching. They won a game last night, guys. They won a game today. If they win on Friday, it's a streak. That'd be 3 in a row.
That'd be great.
It's called a winning streak. It has happened before.
Has it this year?
No, I don't think so.
I think once.
For other teams, yes, but I don't know about the Cardinals. Yeah, exciting stuff. It is. It's fun. They're showing a little emotion. Now, is it too late? Absolutely. Is it just really the third or fourth time they showed any sort of emotion this year? Yes. But Jamie, it's still good. You know?
Yeah.
Anytime you show a little emotion. Good for Tommy Edman. Good for Mason Wynn. Miles Michaelis battled back today after a rocky first 2 innings. His pitch count was about 98 in the second. Wound up going 6 innings. Nice job. Real nice job.
Guys, City SC is in action tonight as they take on FC Dallas. Start time tonight is at 7:30. Of course, you can catch that on MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. What are you expecting from City SC tonight as they look to bounce back after a loss against Orlando City?
We got to get Klaus going here, Jamie. Klaus is back.
Yeah, he got in for like the latter part of the game.
We need to get him going. Offense need to feed through him. You got plenty of complimentary pieces and Giacchini. And I always forget the kid's name that came up halfway through. Got called up. He's been fantastic.
Yeah.
I always forget his name. Like an idiot.
AZ Jackson?
No.
Is that who you're thinking of?
No, it's
Adeniran.
Adeniran.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic. You got some complimentary pieces. Leuven doing his thing in the middle. But we got to get Klaus going.
The team's got to bounce back. Bottom line, you can't lose 2 in a row and think that you're going to stay ahead of LAFC for much longer. Can't do that. You got to get a win. Got to get back on the board tonight.
We're going to get into the AFC North with our one thing to look for, but I wanted to bring up Joe Burrow. He practiced for the first time since injuring his calf. What do you see from the Bengals this year with Joe Burrow coming into the season after injuring his calf? I know, Jamie, you said they are pretenders for the Super Bowl.
No, they're contenders, man. Joe Burrow's back at practice. When I said pretender, he hadn't practiced yet. So, I mean, when we look at this team, Anthony.
It's a good point.
They went out and picked up one of the best offensive linemen available. They're a much improved offensive line. Joe Burrow back now. Running around like a healthy guy that we know he's going to be. I mean, this team, I'm telling you.
Jamie, less than an hour ago, ripping the Bengals, especially the offensive line. But I could see why you changed your viewpoint on the Cincinnati team, Jamie. Yeah, good call. Their offense is going to be excellent again. And I love Anarumo, the defensive coordinator. He's just lost a lot of talent. And I think that Bengals defense kind of goes from maybe a top 10 unit to maybe, like 18, 19. So I think they got some issues there. I talked earlier about losing Samaje Perine, who got a lot of the tough yards when Joe Mixon came off the field. But they're loaded for bear when it comes to the passing game. I mean, you still got to deal with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Boyd. They're loaded from a passing game standpoint. They're not going to be out. I'll tell you what, they're never going to be out of any game. So, and they started off slow last year and then rebounded. Really good team, but I wonder if that's one of those squads that takes a step back based on the losses that they had in free agency.
Did you guys hear about the accidental shooting at the White Sox game this past weekend?
Yeah, that was really messed up.
Yeah.
So Peggy Kuzinski, who works for ESPN, she is a host, Chicago Bears post game. Peggy and Dion. Anyways, she reported on ESPN 1000 that the shooting at Guaranteed Rate Field during a White Sox game was indeed an accidental discharge by one of the women grazed by the bullet. She reportedly snuck the gun in past metal detectors, hiding it in the folds of her belly fat.
Okay.
That was the report.
Well, listen, how she got it in there, you can't fault security. I mean, I have a visual right now, and what's security going to do, right? Like, how are you going to pick that up? You don't invade somebody's privacy. The bigger question is, what the hell did she have a gun at a baseball game for?
Have you seen some of the...
No, but seriously, though, why does she have a gun at a baseball game? Why?
Not a baseball game. A White Sox home game.
I know, Anthony, but it's stupid. It's stupid. And then she's hiding it in the folds of her belly fat. Like, what are we doing here?
It's a great question.
What kind of gun are we talking? Because I want to improve my visual to see just how much the
why are you trying to improve your I don't
well,
now I understand what you're doing.
No, I want to know, like, was it a Magnum 357? If so, like, this is a large person. You know, like, you can't just find a fold on anyone for a Magnum.
Wouldn't be a large person regardless.
If it's like a Glock or one of those
to have that much belly fat, to tuck a gun into the belly fat and then fold it over. We're talking about a large human being.
And it's staying there.
It's staying there. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know. Either way, it's stupid.
And why did you... Jamie's original point, though. Okay.
Yeah,
why even bring a gun? What are you worried about at that point? It's not diabetes. You're not worried about that. So you're bringing in what? You're bringing in the gun?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Packers talked to Jonathan Taylor trade with Colts, sources say. So the Packers, according to ESPN sources, were in talks with the Colts and had legitimate interest in trading for the star running back. What if he would have went to Green Bay? What would that do for Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, Jordan Love?
That's a weird fit. You already have two backs.
Yeah.
Like you said, you got Aaron Jones, you got A.J. Dillon. Two guys that are perfect complements to each other. I think, when you're talking about the Packers, that would have been an awful fit. So, surprised, but maybe they were just floating out a 7th round pick and, went for that. So, all right, we'll move on here. One thing to look for, AFC North next on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Cards pick up the victory today. A walk-off winner from Tommy Edman over the San Diego Padres. We talked all day long about your St. Louis Cardinals. We even mixed in some hockey, some Mizzou football as well. If you missed anything from today's show, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the 101 mobile app. We talked with Jeremy Rutherford earlier today. So if you missed that, make sure you go to the website or use the 101 mobile app. We have one thing to look for, the AFC North. That's coming your way next right here in the Fast Lane. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
All right, one thing to look for, AFC North. We've been doing this for every division thus far, leading up to next Thursday night's kickoff between the Chiefs and the Lions. So, AFC North. Why don't we start off the Raiders? The Raiders projected to finish last. I'm sorry, the Raiders. That'd be the AFC West, guys.
What?
Let's start with the Browns. They're projected to finish last in this division. Marsh, one thing to look for, AFC North.
Which version of Deshaun Watson do we get? Do we get the Houston Texans version of Deshaun Watson, or do we get what we saw last year at the end of the year when he was finally reinstated? That's one thing I'm looking for.
What version of the Houston Texans are we talking about?
Like playoff version, when they went to the playoffs.
On the field.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes. I should have clarified.
Oh, yeah. Well played.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes more sense. Jamie?
Yeah. As far as the AFC North, what are we thinking here?
Browns.
Yeah, the Browns.
One thing to watch for. Yeah.
Yeah, one thing to watch for. Well, there's several. But what? This thing keeps attacking
me. Look at this. Every time I sit down, it's...
Yeah. Talented. So the Cleveland Browns, when I look at this team, I don't know why they're projected to be last. I don't.
Tough division.
It is.
Yeah. They're a good team.
Baltimore and Cincinnati, in my opinion, will be battling this one out. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's a given that the Steelers are going to be right there in third. Like Kenny Pickett, did he really sell you that much on what he was able to do last year?
A lot of people love the Steelers this year.
I know, but I think they love Mike Tomlin.
Who doesn't?
I couldn't agree more. The guy has done a fantastic job with the Steelers. But I just don't know. Like, why would Cleveland then have gone out and spent all that money on Deshaun Watson if they're just going to underperform for a number of years? Mm-hmm. Like, what am I missing here? I'm asking you.
I think Cleveland's roster is really good. I think their defense is better than a lot of people think. They could rush the passer. They got a pretty good front seven. When you look at the offensive line is solid. They can run the ball with Nick Chubb. Marsh is right. It's Deshaun Watson. Are we going to see Deshaun? Remember when Deshaun Watson at one point was a top 10, if not a top 5 quarterback? And then he had the off-field issues and didn't play.
He was playing
and then
very
last
relaxed.
year, he certainly was. Yeah. It's part of the problem, I think, Jamie. So last year, he doesn't play for a while. And then he comes back and he looks terrible. So full off season, he's going to get a full season.
Up there at Cleveland.
It can be. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Certainly colder than Houston. I don't know if that was his issue, but can he perform like the guy that we saw in the playoffs a couple of years ago for Houston, especially against Buffalo?
All right.
Why don't we do the Steelers next? Jamie, you seem to like them. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the Steelers are very good this year, Anthony. Look, they Kenny Pickett, I think he outperformed what most people thought he would be last year, because he certainly wasn't, like people weren't raving about what to expect from Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
And then he ended up closing out the season as the clear number 1 in Pittsburgh, which he did not start that way. Him and old Mitchie Football there. I believe they're the same tandem again this year in Pittsburgh. Should be interesting. But they are 3-0 in the preseason, if that means absolutely nothing. Listen, to me, the AFC North is a two-horse race. That's it.
Yeah.
It's bottom line.
To build off the Kenny Pickett thing, can you be more explosive? Kenny Pickett was fine last year in certain spots. I mean, there's a couple of good drives, but Kenny Pickett is one of those QBs like Mitch Trubisky in that if you practice it and it goes exactly how it's practiced, I feel like he's going to be fine. When the defenses get a little tougher, they start to mix things up. I don't know if Kenny Pickett can make big time plays. I think he could stay on task and keep the offense in rhythm and all that. But can he make enough big plays? I mean, this is one of the worst teams last year in explosive play rate. I think they'll improve, but will they improve to the point where they're going to be a playoff team this year? So that's my question. To get even more specific than just, can Kenny Pickett make improvements? Can this offense find any sort of big play?
Yeah.
Deontay Johnson's a really explosive player, but Pickens I really like on the other side. George Pickens is second year. Can he be explosive though? Marsh, where are you at in the Steelers?
You were talking about the offense. I want to look at the defense. What does this team look like with a healthy TJ Watt? He missed time last year, only played in 10 games. So if he's healthy, maybe they end up winning a few more games and end up making the playoffs last year because they were also in that playoff mix, surprisingly. So maybe they're one of the teams that are fighting for an AFC North championship alongside the Ravens and Bengals.
I think that defense is legit. Minkah Fitzpatrick is just a ball hawk. I mean, he is always in a spot to create or to generate a turnover. The line, like you said, TJ Watt, the stud, Cam Hayward, as solid as ever. Alex Highsmith, excellent. They added DeMonte Casey, who's kind of an underrated ball hawk himself. They drafted Joey Porter Jr. out of Penn State. I think that Steelers defense is going to be very good. How about the Bengals? Jamie, you seem to be back on board.
Yeah, I mean, just because I didn't consider them to be a contender doesn't mean I don't think they're going to be a good team. For me, they're going to be a good team. They're probably going to win this division. With the way Joe Burrow plays at the quarterback position, if he's completely healthy, which I would believe he is. It was a calf injury. It wasn't a knee or an ankle or something like that. I mean, the Bengals, it's just such a good team that I just don't know. Like, Baltimore's going to have to throw everything they have at the season because of how good Cincinnati is. Now, the only advantage I see Baltimore having is they'll have a little bit of an easier schedule based on last year's results.
Mm-hmm.
And
they'll play second place.
Yeah, I mean, splitting hairs a little bit, but with a better team with a little bit lesser schedule could be a little bit more beneficial to them. But I like the Bengals. I actually have the Bengals to win this division.
Marsh?
I want to know what they do with Joe Burrow's contract situation. Are they going to get a contract done by the start of the season, which is coming up here in about a week? Will they do that? I'm sure he won't sit out. I can't see him doing that, but I wonder how that will impact the season, and what if he does get injured again? What happens then? So that's one thing I'm going to look for.
To me, it's all about the defense. Eli Apple, Jesse Bates, Von Bell, the last two being the significant losses. All of them are gone. They're relying on a couple of second-year players in that secondary. I think the front seven is solid with Trey Hendrickson and Logan Wilson. They've got some guys up front that can play. But I think they're going to have some issues on the back end. And I think they're going to be in a lot of shootouts, which is fine because you got Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. But defensively, I don't think that this group is as good as it has been over the last couple of years. Jesse Bates was kind of like the pulse of that defense, and now he's gone. So I think the Bengals defensively could take a step back this year. All right, we'll round it out with the Ravens. And to me, it's Todd Monken. What can Lamar Jackson do under Todd Monken? Because Greg Roman didn't set up Lamar Jackson for success. We've talked about this ad nausea. Can Todd Monken get the most out of Lamar Jackson? And if he can, you're looking at a legit Super Bowl contender because the defense is good enough. The offensive line is good enough. The running game should be fine. They added enough weapons this offseason with Zay Flowers, their first-round pick, and Odell Beckham's a fine possession receiver. They still got Mark Andrews. I like this team a lot, and I think Baltimore wins the division this year. Isaiah Likely, tight end from a year ago.
Yeah.
Rookie cut tight end, solid.
Yeah, he is.
Had a big game against Tampa on a Thursday night.
Yeah, he did.
He did.
He was excellent that
Some
day.
would say life-saving catch.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got Baltimore right there with the Bengals neck and neck through it. Again, it's going to come down to the offensive coordinator, Lamar Jackson, all that stuff.
Marsh?
I just want to see what these wide receivers look like this year. Zay Flowers, hearing a lot of good things about him, and Odell Beckham Jr. coming back from the injury. He had that whole dramatic, where am I going? I'm going to go on a tour to see which place I'm going to play at, and then just didn't play anywhere last season. So I'm interested to see how he does this season with the Ravens.
All right, there you have it. What are we doing tomorrow, Marsh? Can you give us a preview?
Well, we have one conference left.
One division?
One division, and then two conferences. So we have the NFC South.
Yes, finally. You saved the best for last, Marsh.
Well, technically the AFC South will be last.
Oh.
That's what you did there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right, Andrew Marsh, Jamie Rivers, Anthony Stalter, Fastlane on 101 ESPN. What you missed? Criticisms, compliments. Next.
For replacement windows? If you are, don't go to any of those other places with those thin windows that crack. No, go to Window World, the preferred window of your St. Louis Blues. Window World uses a double-strength glass that gives it a strength that you just don't see in other replacement windows. And what that means is they're efficient. The hot stays out in the summertime, and the cold stays out in the wintertime, and you get a really good product that's not breaking all the time. And in fact, they back it up too with a lifetime warranty that covers all the parts of glass breakage and the labor. And just give them a call for a free in-home estimate, and they can get there and answer all of your questions and show you what the measurements are. And then when they order your window, those are custom windows for your home. Not all window openings are the same size, but Window World makes sure that they've got you covered perfectly. And they're also still offering 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. So please pick up the phone, give them a call, tell them that Jamie Rivers sent you in. That number is 314-993-1800. That's 314-993-1800, or look them up at windowworld.com.
miss anything from today's show, make sure you download the podcast at 101ESPN.com or your 101 ESPN mobile apps. All brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Talk to our guy Jeremy Rutherford today. He's got a Colton Parayko article coming out tomorrow. He sat down with the Blues defenseman to talk about a variety of things, including some of the things that he wants to work on following last year's down season, not only for the Blues but himself. And JR mentioned at the end of our interview that Colton Parayko also shares some thoughts on kind of the fan reaction to him. So I'm looking forward to that. But JR joined us again earlier today. Talked about Wilson Contreras. Big night last night. Guy you want to build, not build around, but build with, win with. Talked about Tommy Edman walking it off for a second straight day against the Padres. Did Jimmy G throw the 49ers some shade? Also did NFL Contender or Pretender Super Bowl edition. Jamie with one of the all-time flip-flops.
What are you talking about?
I'm one team, so always check out the pod. One thing to look for, we just did that with the AFC North. A pretty good Gauntlet contest.
Oh yeah,
that was tough. What are the expectations for Mizzou and Eli Drinkwitz? Do the Cardinals need to be more like the Braves or the Giants? And we clarified that because a lot of people are like, hey, well, of course, you want to be the Braves. But in terms of like roster building and then execution of the building, had that conversation too. All available at the podcast. Marsh, what do you got for criticisms and compliments?
From the 908, Jamie has been hanging out with T-Bone too long. He's so negative. And that was in reference to Jamie just basically crapping on Mizzou.
Yeah, I was a little surprised how hard you were on Mizzou.
Were you?
No, not really.
I was being realistic. We had one texter text in and say they're going to get 9 wins.
What?
My goodness, guys! Like, what are we doing here?
Okay, can we just do this?
Let's break it down.
I just want to.
I'm actually not being negative. I was trying to offer what I thought was an educated take on how difficult this season will be for Mizzou.
So let's humor ourselves here and look at Mizzou's schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So South Dakota tomorrow night. So I'm assuming to get to 9 wins, South Dakota, Middle Tennessee, Memphis are all layups. They also have to give wins, I would imagine, to Kansas State. Or, I'm sorry, Mizzou win over Kansas State. Vanderbilt is another layup.
Mm-hmm.
Kentucky, South Carolina. I'm assuming Arkansas. And then they've got them beating either Tennessee, Florida, or LSU to get to the 9. I don't think it's incredibly unrealistic. I just don't think it's going to happen.
I think they got their hands full with Kansas State. Personally, I don't know why everybody.
Did a year ago.
I don't know why everybody is just sort of like skipping along that. They're ranked 16th right now before the season starts. Where's Mizzou?
They're unranked.
Yeah, they're unranked.
And you knew that too. Why?
No, but that's my point, Anthony. So why is everybody just walking over Kansas State and assuming that's a victory?
Mm-hmm.
You can't. They're ranked 16th for a reason, and Mizzou's unranked for a reason.
Yeah. In fairness, I think they can beat Florida this year. I don't think Florida is anything special. They're bringing Graham Mertz from Wisconsin as a transfer to be their quarterback. So I think Florida is beatable. I think South Carolina is a tad overrated, but they're better than Mizzou going into the year.
They've Mizzou's won the last 4 meetings against
South Carolina.
Yep, they're 8-5 against them in their history.
I actually think the one tough one that maybe people are kind of looking at and like, it's fine. At Kentucky's not going to be a cakewalk. I think Kentucky's going to be pretty decent this year. I think Arkansas is actually going to be a little bit better than people think too. This is not an easy schedule. I don't see 9.
If they get to 7, I will be impressed.
All right. If they get to 7, you'll be impressed. If they get to 8 wins, you'll issue an apology to Mizzou fans.
Yes.
All right.
100%.
There you go.
Mizzou has lost to Kentucky the last 2 seasons. So they give them fits.
They lose to Kentucky, I feel like, in horrific ways. Just horrific ways. Like remember the one at Mizzou, Kentucky, I think it was a pass interference call setting them up again, like the late 4th quarter.
I think I do remember that.
Yeah, it was ugly. All right, so there you go.
5-9.
There you go, Mizzou fan. Jamie is going to be impressed if your team wins 7 games this year. He's going to offer an official apology, a genuine apology to you if they win 8.
Yes.
I think that's fair. And if they win 9, Jamie will take off his shirt and run around the 101 ESPN parking lot.
Okay.
Saying, Mizzou, M-I-Z. And he'll
I'll run around with
Z-O-U.
a big M painted on my chest.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Okay.
There, everybody's satisfied.
Oh, and a tiger tail, too. You got to have the tiger tail.
And the ears.
Oh, the
You
ears.
have
And the ears
and the tail.
tiger tail.
We'll paint whiskers on.
Yeah. They win 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going whiskers, ears, tail, block M.
Yep. Yep.
I think that's more than fair.
I totally agree, Anthony.
All right.
I'm here for it.
I'm glad we settled this.
Yeah.
From the 314, in reference to the Gauntlet, haha, Grant is amazing for trolling the listeners with a snake question.
That was pretty good. Yeah, we didn't even talk about that. Well done, Grant. And he still got some bites, as Jamie would call it.
Wow, Anthony.
He did.
Oh, it's a great. I like the way you used it there. You got some
Bite
bites.
with a snake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very well done.
Speaking of the snake,
Did you do it on purpose?
No, I fell into
Would
it.
have been impressive if you did.
The snake question, I got a text from one of my buddies. He goes, when the guy said he was a former Eagle Scout, so he knew the snake question, I was like, how the hell does scouting football players have to do with snakes? Then I realized Boy Scouts.
Yeah. All right.
I was like, you're joking.
That's pretty good.
We got a text from Mike, who was our recent Gauntlet champion. He said he was laughing out loud that Grant ended up bringing that back. Hashtag not too soon.
I like that a lot. By the way, Brooke from the opening drive, Brooke Grimsley, she texted me. You guys are sleeping on the MTSU Blue Raiders, the Middle Tennessee State Blue Raiders. Proud alum.
Yeah,
Brooke of Middle Tennessee.
Oh,
last
she went to
matchup.
Middle Tennessee? I thought she went to Tennessee.
No, she went to Middle Tennessee.
My bad.
Yeah, she didn't go to Knoxville. She went to the middle of Tennessee.
Yeah, right in the middle.
That's not the Middle Tennessee team that defeated Mizzou in the NCAA tournament.
That is the Middle Tennessee State team that won October 22nd, 2016, 51-45 over Mizzou.
Okay. Who was the team that won in the basketball? I can't remember.
Against Mizzou this past year?
No, not this past year. A few years ago, it was the
Middle
15...
Tennessee beat Michigan State, I think, one year.
Okay, maybe that's who it was.
Yeah, and Michigan State might have been like second, like two.
So that was the same year, though. It was two seeds ended up going down. So gotcha.
I think so. I'm pretty sure they did. Anyways, yeah, our apologies to Brooke. Yeah, we are sleeping on those Blue Raiders from the middle of Tennessee.
The 618 let us know that his birthday is March 22nd.
There you go. See?
So a couple local legends.
Who? What?
He's in.
Yeah.
The 6-1 great.
Except for he's not a Pisces, I don't believe. He's an
Aries.
An Aries. Like
he's angry.
No wonder you guys like each other so much.
No wonder he's an angry elf.
Yeah. Wow.
There you go.
From the 314, love Jamie's hockey stories. He was a badass back in the day.
Yes, he was.
That's back in the day, of course. Good old
You
days.
are now.
No, I mean,
You could still check somebody into the boards
if they're
tonight.
They were standing still.
You could do a lot of damage.
To myself. Hence the first story of today.
Jamie, okay? Tore the rotator cuff.
Rotator cuff.
Yep.
Separated my shoulder.
Uh-huh.
Gave myself a hernia.
Yep.
I think I pulled a hammy.
What were we saying the one day? The dorsimus.
Dorsimus latimus.
Fin.
Dorsal fin.
Who were we talking about that day?
Who knows? Who really knows?
Who knows? Who really knows? All right, everybody have a great rest of your night. Thanks for listening today. You've got instant replay coming up from 6 to 7 for our guy Andrew Marsh and Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. Again, appreciate you listening, texting in. We'll see you tomorrow. See you.